Darrell sees the exact line.
Taylor Heavy going to be light on his feet through there.
Look at this. That is Liam Draper.
Wow.
We now have a new second-place rider, Liam Draper, into the number 2 spot. That is Ben Kelly, so now we have a new third-place overall rider. Ben Kelly may have seen his teammate on the side of the track, may have not, but he is now up into a podium position.
How about it? Boogity, 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 a rev of the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki. Ladies and gentlemen, Stu Baylor, a 2-time Talladega winner.
I gapped him and then I couldn't figure out. Hey, he blew up. Huh? He blew up. Really? Yep. He's out of the race. You way behind. You had 3 minutes. He's just moving the car.
But Nick might get him.
Yeah, Nick might. Nick fired up then. Good job. Hey. That last lap was fun.
Number 2 spot on that Ampro Racing Yamaha, Liam Draper. You can tell he's relieved this one over P2 on the day. The final X1 podium position, Ben Kelly. Coming back, obviously I see that everybody's kind of had a shake-up of the first 3 rounds, so we should be right there within striking distance. So great race. I see Nick DeVeo coming through the finish right now, leading XC2 as well. So for the team, man, it's awesome. Thank you to all of our great supporters: Rocky Mountain, Kawasaki, Redline, Pirelli Tires, SOS Medical, Environmental Golf, Acherbys, Yoshimura, Factory Connection, XC Gear, ASV, Shoei, CD, MSR, Insta360, my wife, my family, everybody for doing so much to keep this program going. Everybody we've got in the woods, the whole Kawasaki operation, man, we've put a lot of work into this. The bikes finally, I feel as confident as I did on my Yamaha. That was something that the guys over there at Factory Connection and I were discussing, like, how can we get back to where I felt in 2021? And I think we finally nailed it, man. I'm feeling good. We've made some changes, some seat height changes, suspension changes, just a lot of small things, and I think it's working. From sand to mud, I know I've got the speed. We just got to keep it on 2 wheels, and I know for a fact I'm my biggest competitor, so I've got to figure that one out. A lot of races I just beat myself, and today wasn't one of them.
Yeah, it was good. I got a good start and then kind of messed up turn 2, I think it was, and went back, but then just kind of stayed steady all day, and that last lap was tough. It was a very physical track, and yeah, just super stoked to be back on the podium.
The goal was a podium. The mud races haven't been all that good to me recently, so yeah, just tried to stay smart, not get stuck, not crash, try to keep my goggles on and save the eyes. And just save the bike. I was kind of in a battle there for 3rd all day with Liam, Mike, and Craig. And yeah, we were all just right there battling for 3rd. So I was like, all right, if I could just stay here. And felt like I had a little bit more speed, but yeah, track got really hard to ride, and a lot of mistakes out there. And yeah, I kind of got into like 4th there, and unfortunately Grant Davis had an issue, but yeah, Liam just pulled away from me a little bit. Tried to catch him that last lap, but man, the mud just thickened up so much, and I had 2 crashes and then got stuck pretty bad once. Close to the end, thank God that some of the mud fleas pulled me out, and yeah, those last 3 miles, my bike was struggling. It was overheating and not wanting to run good, and you know, I saw Grant's bike quit on him, so like, I was really just nursing it that second half of the lap because Liam pulled away and I had a good gap on the next guy, so I'm like, all right, just got to ride it in, make sure I finish, and 3rd place today is good.
Round 4 of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series. An AMA National Championship heads back to South Carolina for the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. 3 different winners in 3 rounds this season. Who will take the 4th? It all starts now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there. Justo gets the overall win with an elapsed time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have.
That was a battle.
That was a hell of a ride by both of those men. Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly.
Overall leader, Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are records, and Grant Davis comes out on top. Your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly. I know I can show up, and I know I can win on any given week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 4, the FMF Camp Coker Bullet. Johnny, it's good to be back here in the sand.
Man, back here in the sand, and after a little 3-week break for these guys to rejuvenate themselves, after a tough few weeks of racing, the rough sands of Florida, and then a very, very muddy Talladega again, where we saw, obviously, Stu Baylor, the only rider to win there, 2 years in a row, grabbing the win there, and catapulting himself up in the points, up into that number 3 spot. But the man on top of the points, Ben Kelly, was able to charge his way through the pack, put himself on the podium in 3rd, and Liam Draper with a breakthrough ride here in 2026 in that 2nd place and the other podium spot. So it was a battle there, tough conditions. It really was a matter of survival, just who could make it to the finish line. The conditions were so tough. Not what we're expecting here this weekend, a beautiful weekend for racing, but we know there's so many other riders that are going to be in the mix as well, Jackson.
Yeah, one that I'm looking forward to is seeing Jordan Ashburn. Jordan Ashburn having a little bit of trouble there at round number 3 at Talladega. And Jordan, one of the top riders in the mud, and so having some trouble. So you know he's going to be looking for some vengeance here. Of course, you got to think about your XC2 class. Nick DeFeo, this teammate of Stu Baylor there, able to grab a win as well. So all kinds of stuff going on, whether it's the XC2 or the XC1 class.
Yeah, 2 wins on the season now for Nick DeFeo. Starting off last season strong with that overall and XC2 win. You know that was a lot of confidence for him. Well, now he's won 2 of the first 3 rounds, finding himself in a pretty good spot in that XC2 class, really to battle for that championship. And some of the other riders in that class that we really expected to see up front, like Gus Reardon, really struggling through the first few rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see today how that sorts itself out and just exactly what kind of racing action we get. We did get a chance to catch up with some of our top riders, starting off with Ben Kelly, getting his thoughts coming in here to round number 4.
Having the points lead is awesome. That's the goal. Definitely want it at the end of the season. I want to try to defend this championship, and that's the plan, and I'm feeling good about it. I've been feeling and riding really good. So, yeah, coming into this race, like I said, I like this track. It suits me well. I had a really good race last year with Liam and Grant down to the wire for the win and was able to get it. So, feeling good. Conditions were similar. It's dry, dusty, but yeah, physical track as well, but not going to be too hot, which is good. And yeah, I got a points lead. It's close still, obviously. Some guys have had up and down races and mechanicals. I'm going to have to fight with for the title. So I know they're going to be going for broke, obviously, trying to make up as many points as they can. And yeah, I'm going to be doing the same, trying to get some wins and stay consistent on the podium.
All right, good to hear from your points leader there, Ben Kelly. Now we're going to throw it down to our last round winner, Stu Baylor.
Talladega was a good race. Finally got the start we've been looking for, and yeah, that makes things a lot easier. You're not pulling as many tear-offs, and I was able to capitalize on a couple mistakes from the guys in front of me and get to the lead fairly quick, and from there just kind of control things. I felt like I was able to ride a pretty good pace without making too many mistakes. Definitely had a few. It was easy to make a lot of mistakes out there, but the goal there was just to keep it on 2 wheels, and we did that for the most part of the day.
All right, well, there you have it, right in his own words, the king of Talladega, Stu Baylor, talking about exactly where he's at in this 2026 season, coming into round number 4. And additionally, we wanted to catch up with our second-place rider in points. Despite a little bit of a disappointing performance at round number 3 there, Jackson, Jordan Ashburn really starting to jive on that Phoenix Racing Honda. We had a chance to talk with him about just that and his thoughts coming into round number 4.
Yeah, we're sitting second still in points. The gap closed up a lot, so, everybody's really close behind, but, it is what it is. It's a long season, and Ben gained a few points, but we'll just keep chipping away and take each weekend as what it is and try to get as much as we can.
All right, good to hear there from Jordan Ashburn. Of course, a lot of others to look forward to this weekend as well. Jack Walker having some good rides there, round number 2 in the sand, and look forward to seeing him here at round number 4 it is now here at Camp Coker. So without any further ado, let's talk to our trail boss, Jared Bolton. Zach Herron going to be standing by with him.
All right, thanks, guys. Jared, here we are, another fantastic FMF Camp Coker Bullet. Looks like things may be a little different this year. Tell us what we've got in store.
Yeah, it's a little dry. This place, when it gets dry, the sand makes things kind of challenging, gets a little loose, and gets a little rough. But the good news there, we've kind of mixed things up. The bike guys get some special stuff just for them. The ATV guys get some special stuff just for them. And what that does is actually makes that bike track a little less rough. Gives those quad guys something that's a little less tight. And you know what I'm going to say? It makes something for everybody. Although, this does tend to be a little on the fast side in places. So, Camp Coker's a really good facility.
It's going to be a ton of fun. A little bit of new in store, a little bit of changed up, but still the same old Camp Coker we all know and love. Back to you guys.
All right, now that we've seen a little preview of just what our racers will be facing out there for 3 hours today in the sands of Camp Coker, we're going to throw it back down to our man, Zach Herron, on the starting line. He's ready with the 10-second calls to get the racing action underway here on Racer TV.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVNC.com. Get ready.
Go ahead, Jackson. All right, we would like to welcome all of our friends from around the world. Welcome to Society Hill, South Carolina, Racer TV. Good to have you with us here today. And without further ado, it is time to introduce to you our starting lineup here for row number 1, your XC1 Open Pro class. Rolling to the line first, your defending champion aboard the number 1 machine. The FMF KTM Factory Racing Back Drive from Connecticut. Let's welcome Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line next, he's going to be aboard the number 3 machine. From Livingston, Tennessee on the Phoenix Racing Honda, welcome Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, taking the win, just 1 race to go. Aboard the 514 from Donald, South Carolina, right here in his home state on the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki, Stuart Baylor. Rolling to the line next, he's going to be aboard the 198 Ampro Yamaha, now calling Pennsylvania home. Let's welcome Liam Draper. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 8 Phoenix Racing Honda from North Carolina, Mike Wakowski. Aboard the number 342 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Back Drive from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, Craig DeLong. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 7 Liqui-Moly Factory Beta Racing Machine, now calling North Carolina home, Josh Stray. Rolling to the line next, we like to call him the Playboy, on the number 2 FMF KTM Factory Racing Back Drive from Pennsylvania, Grant Davis. Rolling to the line next, aboard the 99 Liqui-Moly Factory Beta Racing Machine, now in Illinois, Cody Barnes. Rolling to the line next on the 336. Morning Duck Racing, JDP Suspension, Moose Racing back on to ride from Mocksville, North Carolina, Ryder Lafferty. Rolling to the line next, aboard the 995 Valley Yamaha Callis Moto back Yamaha machine, making his way from Canada, Tyler Medaglia. Woo! Rolling to the line next, aboard the 989 Racecraft Husqvarna from West Virginia, Thad Duvall. Up next, the 314, making his way right here from South Carolina on the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki, Grant Baylor. And last but certainly not least, on the 206 Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki from Hickory, North Carolina, Josh Toth. And that, my friends, will be your starting lineup here for row number 1, your XC1 Open Pro class, as we get set to turn them loose here in the sands of South Carolina. The fastest off-road racers in the world are ready to go head-to-head for 3 straight hours. I always say, if you are on row number 1 of a Grand National cross country, you are one of the best in the world. There's no doubt about it. Ricky's going to scan down through the line. He makes sure all of our riders are going to be ready to go as everyone gets into position. And we're going to keep our eyes in turn number 1 on the maestro, Ricky Towery, and there it is. Blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. Woo. We're just about ready to roll now. Once again, shut them down, shut them down. And South Carolina, this is where we like to ask you, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Society Hill, that was pretty good, but this is round 4. We're ready to roll into the sands of South Carolina. I'm going to ask you one more time, are you ready to go GNCC racing? In 10 seconds for row number 1, your XC1 Pro. And they're off. Sounded like one rider jumping the line on that one. But one guy that has it all under control is the 8 machine, the Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Wakowski. Grabs the whole shot in the early lead, but troubles for the Beta machine of Josh Strang, still down in turn number 1. He gets it fired up, and he's back off and rolling. Here we go with our XC2 250 Pro set to roll in. Blue flag wave, shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. XC2 250 Pro set to go in. And seconds. for Gus Reardon, Jack Walker, Toby Cleveland, Jason Tino, Brody Johnson, Nick DeFeo, Gavin Simon, JoJo Cunningham, Jason Liscombe, Christopher Paris, and it will be the 2-1-3 grabbing the whole shot. Toby Cleveland going to lead them in to turn number 2 and 3. Blue flag waves for row number 3. Felipe Daguilas going to be in this one as well, the Quebec native. Here we go, row number 3 in 10 seconds for your 250A. Lane Whitmer, Colton Shields, Michael DeLoza, Ryan Piper, Joshua Connor, Dylan McDonald, Cooper Jones, Chase Landers, Collier Martinez, James Jenkins, Caleb Wood, Noah Clark, and it is Caleb Wood with the whole shot. Cody Wallner, Lane Smith, Owen Barnes, and Hunter Smith in the 250A class as well. Here we go, row number 3 set to go in 10 seconds for your 4-stroke A lights. 28 entries in total. Doc Smith, Brody Amos, Logan Pellegrini, Brady Beerbaum, Ryan Amont, Lennox Riley, Bryce Woodruff, Preston Horton, Michael Meyer, Jack Wallen, Braden Baisley, Cian Conley. 34 on the jersey, wasn't quite able to catch those numbers on the helmets. Travis Lynch, Wade Tucker, Cooper Dove, Joseph Shalott in this one as well. Carlo Clary, Mason Potter, and a few more. Here we go. Row number 5. Set to go in 10 seconds for your open A. Cole Whitmer, Samuel Evans, Joe Schreiber, Van Adams, Colby Goodman, Cameron Linden, Will Piper, Trevor Holland, Tyler Mumford, Zach Hayes, Brady Myers, Kean Rupp, Easton Uplinger, Mason Grove, and Ethan Floyd. It is the 176 of Van Adams, the Indiana native, grabs the whole shot and the early lead. Here we go, 150A in 10 seconds. And they're off. Charlie Simpson, Colton McQuarrie, Landon Barker, Gabriel Jimenez, and Max Crawford, I should say, and Parker Savage. Who's it going to be? The Husqvarna rider going to grab it. The 709 machine of Max Crawford from North Carolina. Row number 7 in 10 seconds for your Bet A 30 plus. Nick Labby, Jeremy Lemon, Anthony Laird, Robbie Norwood, Michael Jarasco, Tyler Novenditsky, Chance Malin, Grant Marriott. Who's it going to be? The 223 on the machine, the 369 on the helmet. That is Chance Malin. Grant Marriott in this one, Brady Stefanik, Matthew Dreyer, and a few more. We're ready to roll with our next row. Junior A 25 plus in 10 seconds. Walker Hashman, Russell Smith, Devin Cafasso, Deshaun Horton, Eli Childers, Wyatt Ford, Sean Cochran, Tyler Braniff, Caleb Hagan, Aaron Higgins, and Zach Bumgarner. Who's it going to be? The 393, I believe, of Eli Childers from North Carolina. Here we go, next row. Senior A 40 plus in 10 seconds. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Pete Petrucci, James Boyer, Fernando Pina, Alexandre Legault, Jesse Arsenault, Danny Haufel, Kyle Dangler from FMF. How about it? Stephen Meacham in this one as well. And it is the 4-3-2 Kyle Dangler right here at the FMF Camp Coker Bully. Going to get the job done. 250B coming up next in 10 seconds for Owen James, Isaac Leitner, Thomas Dean, Brandon Bailey, John Fee, Christian McCauley, Raymond Rhymes, William Boggs, Dustin Anderson, Wyatt Johnson, Levi Jones, Matt Gray, Logan Grounds, Tyler Irvin, Travis Hunt, George Sprade, and Spencer Knight. And it is the 5-2-1. Logan Grounds getting the job done. Make sure everybody is behind that white stringer line. We do not want you to become part of this race. Here we go in 10 seconds for your open B. Caden Annan, Luke Thurfield, Colton Sobleski, Austin Benninger, Jacob Blakely, Grant Newell, Dylan Bailey, Ben Thomas, Jace James, Jacob Connor, Brady Griffith, and Colton Painter. Across the stripe, it'll be the 5-2-5. Looks like some riders down in turn number 1. But Jacob Connard is set and sail. The PA native gets the job done. Looks like a little help needed up there in turn number 1. A brief hold. Brief hold on the line. Four-stroke B light's going to be coming up next. 16 entries in total. Row 12 of 16 here for this PM race. Looks like we are going to change the course here. Going to open it up. All right, boys. Gonna cut it up here. Gonna cut it up here. Attaboy Jimmy getting the job done up here. All right, keep your eyes on the prize right there. Gonna cut it just a bit early. Turn at DJ Judd. Here we go. Four-stroke B lights coming up in 10 seconds. Treston Walker, Brody Bolin, Waylon Daughtry, Maddox, Moretz, Owen Mock, Tucker McCrary, Alan Geen, Landon Clayton, Bryson McGillen, Will Thurfield. And it is the 909 machine that gets the job done. Ryder Rick with another hole shot. Way to go, boys. That was a good one there. Able to make some quick changes. Here we go. 10 seconds for your 150B. Jagger Eckstein, Zach Johnson, Dylan Royer, Wally McDowney, and Ashton Pellegrini here in this one. Let's see who it's going to be. The 238 Jagger Eckstein, the Indiana man, going to get the job done. Here we go, our next row in 10 seconds. Junior B, 25 plus. Matthew McCormick, Kyle Constant, Doug Hughes, Hunter Purdue, Dylan Fleming, Tyler Daniels, Cameron Hughes, Kevin Campbell, Billy Saliga, Michael Hall, Judd Boggins, and Josh McCoy. Oh man, that was too close to call. I think it was the 366 of Kyle Constant. Here we go, Bet B, 30 plus in 10 seconds. Justin Vaughn, Maddox Bumgardner, Cody Johnson, Stephen Hall, Stephen McGowan, Marco Johnson, Anthony Tomorrow, Greg Martell, Matt Kirsch, Michael Moulton, and a ton more, but it is the 453 that's going to get the job done. That is Thomas Nichols right here from his home state of South Carolina. Way to go, my man. And here we go, our final row, set to roll in 10 seconds for your Senior B 40 plus. Tasso Durante, Ben Woods, Bennett Phipps, Jesse Pekaski, Philip Solon Sr., Robert Edens, Jason Corbin, Jason Cottrill, Daniel Brown, Jeremy Nance, Christopher Kralich, Joey Nachi, and Bob Raber, all going to be here in this one. Wasn't quite able to catch those numbers. The 907 on the machine. Wasn't quite able to catch those helmet numbers. But woo, what a start we had there for that one. We are off and rolling with our 3-hour race. We'll be right back with more action on Racer TV.
everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that.
This reminds me of my bike.
The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Welcome back to Racer TV for today's coverage of the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC from Society Hills, North Carolina. Jackson Burrell will be joining myself, Johnny Gallagher in the booth here today. We'll be calling the live racing action for you for the next 3 hours. We already have our racing action underway with all of our afternoon classes out on the course and tackling this very, very rough Camp Coker race course. With things getting underway, I believe we have a look back at our XC1 and XC2 start recaps loading for you guys here. And here is our Specialized start recap. Lining up in the XC1, we have our defending champion and points leader, Ben Kelly, fresh off a podium at the last round. And lining up quick off the trigger, it was Mike Wakowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Some discrepancy that perhaps a little too quick off the trigger. We'll leave that to our race officials, potentially looking down the barrel of a 30-second penalty. But again, we will wait until they check in at the completion of lap number 1 and see if any penalties are assessed. But nonetheless, leading the way with Jordan Ashburn right behind Grant Davis there, we're told, on a 450 this weekend. And Craig DeLong were the top 4 heading into the woods right off the start. In the XC2 class, it was Toby Cleveland, fresh off a big win last weekend at the U.S. Sprint Enduro, grabbing that whole shot, wheeling away with it, and leading the XC2 boys into the woods. We see Jack Walker and also Gus Reardon up in there in the mix, and the rest of the class in tow already starting to mix it up for positions. You can see Reardon around the outside, showing just how hungry he is to show what he has here in 2026. Joined in the booth now by the man who's quick on the mic and also quick to get back to the Racer TV studio. Jackson, things are underway. We know this is a very rough race course, and here we're going to just jump right into it. Mike Wakowski, quick off the line, little speculation, a lot of people pointing, saying that maybe he was a little too quick. There we see in the number 2 spot, it is his Phoenix Racing Honda teammate, Jordan Ashburn there. And then just behind those two is the big number 2 Grant Davis, we're told potentially on a 450 this weekend. I think we have a little interview, so we'll let, when we get to that, we'll let him explain. And here comes the rest of the field. There is, looks like Ben Kelly up inside the top 5. Looks like Liam Draper there on that Am-Pro Yamaha. Here comes Craig DeLong. Looks like he's dropped back just a few spots there. And there is Stu Baylor, fresh off that win at Talladega 3 weeks ago. This man is on a mission. Says he loves this track here at Camp Coker. There is Ryder Lafferty on the 336 Honda. And the riders starting to sort themselves out. Big story here, Jackson, the dust. It seems like there's a lot of dust kicking up out there. We've got a nice long 13-plus mile track for these guys here today. A lot of bike-only sections and then also PM bike-only sections that fresh train nobody has touched here all weekend so far, as we can see from our Yamaha Racing track map.
Yeah, it looks like we have some really tight stuff there for some of those PM sections, so that's going to be fun to see those guys go into somewhat of some single track, I guess you could say, at least here for GNCC. We would definitely consider that more of a single track. But you can see right here, Johnny, they've came through with the dozers last night. Those berms that they pushed up with the ATVs, going to be some good riding for the bikes.
Absolutely. And to that single track you're referring to, those bike-only sections and PM bike-only sections, last year that caught a lot of riders off guard when they were pedaling the racetrack on Saturday. Did not catch the signage showing that section of racetrack and pedaled right by it. And then on lap number 1, when the course marking sent them in there, a lot of those guys were caught off guard. They said it was old school GNCC, having actually what they call row their handlebars, meaning that the trees aren't even wide enough to fit your handlebars through. You actually have to put one side through and then kind of wiggle through, almost like as if you're kind of like turning your hips to make it through something that's real tight. But that really caught a lot of guys off guard last year. I think this year, especially those XC1 and 2 riders, spent a little bit extra time when they were previewing the course, made sure they caught all of those sections so they knew what was in store for them here on lap number 1. We're waiting and watching at the 10-mile marker. The story's coming in, Jackson. Obviously, Ben Kelly, the overall points leader. He's just been consistent. Obviously won Florida, but then finding himself on the podium last round with the 3rd place finish, really just kind of chipping away, continuing to build that gap. Jordan Ashburn sitting in the number 2 spot on track and also 2nd in points, and then fresh off a win at Talladega 3 weeks ago, Stu Baylor jumped up to 3rd place in the points. So that's your top 3 in points coming into today. All look like they're running inside or very close to the top 5 here already with, looks like Ben was around that 4th, 5th spot. Stu maybe back closer to 7th or so, but we expect to see Stu Baylor make some noise here early and really make waves, get up in the mix. We know he likes to sprint early, get to the front, and kind of set the pace.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm sure Stu going to be looking for some redemption after round 2 there. Wasn't able to score any points, having some trouble. So, you know, here in the sands of South Carolina, his home state, he's going to be wanting to get some redemption there from round number 2 and continue those winning ways. But as you mentioned with Ben Kelly, able to get the win there round number 2 last time we were in the sand. And he was also your winner here at the 2025 Camp Coker Bullet. So Ben Kelly definitely going to be one to watch out for here today.
Yeah, Ben always very strong in the sand. This is a track that it's kind of sneaky rough, really takes a lot out of you. Heard even Corey Steed and some of this morning's podium finishers when you guys were doing the interviews talking about, I don't want to see that track again ever, but if I have to see it, I hope it's another full year. Just saying the track just got incredibly rough, a lot of square edge stuff. It's a mix. You know, when you get into Florida, you just have a lot of the big bombers. You do have some tree roots mixed in, but here at Camp Coker, there's hard packed dirt, there's gravel, there's loose sand, there's whoops, there's square edge. It's a little bit of mix of everything. So not only is it hard on you, but it's really hard to get kind of a middle of the road bike setup. You can't go full sand setup because then it's just too stiff for the smaller chop. But if you go soft enough that it works well on the chop, the bike's just G'ing out. You're not getting any forward drive in those sand rollers, and it's a difficult decision to make when you're setting up a bike for a track like this. But we're going to see how it all pays out here over the next 3 hours. Tripping over my tongue, but waiting at the 10-mile marker. Jackson, it'll be interesting to see. You were there. You saw, we heard a bike start very, very early. Yes. Mike Wakowski immediately started shaking his head, and then when the flag dropped, he was gone so quickly. I wasn't standing close enough to document to say it was or was not, but a lot of people pointing. So we have race officials there. We'll see if any penalties are assessed. But one thing we do know for sure, someone started very, very early in that XC1 round.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There was a bike that definitely fired a lot earlier than the other bikes. I wasn't able to catch it myself on who it was. I didn't realize that it was Wakowski that a lot of people were referring to, but it would make sense, Johnny, with him getting the whole shot there.
Yeah, and we'll see. Obviously, like we said, there was race officials there. They were actually pointing and discussing, so they'll discuss that amongst themselves. And typically how that penalty is assessed, they will assess it as quickly as they can determine who it was. They'll go back, they'll look at the video, they'll talk to those that actually witnessed it happening. They'll make the decision, and if they are sure of whoever it is, whether it be Wakowski or any of the other, XC1 riders, They will assess that penalty at scoring at the completion of lap number 1. We will see one of our race officials, most likely Jeremy Holber, standing out there. They will point at the rider, they will pull him. You'll see him referring to his watch, and they will start that penalty. That is a variable penalty based on the infraction. It can be anywhere from 15 seconds to promoter discretion. So if on a super dusty day, you get a start and you get out front and you come through and you've got a 45-second or a minute lead, they're going to hold you more than 30 seconds. They're going to make sure that you're penalized appropriately. And as we see, very dusty. Again, we don't know that it was Wakowski, but a lot of signs pointing to that it could have possibly been. But right now, out front and opening up a gap over what looks still to be his teammate, Jordan Ashburn, on the number 3 Phoenix Racing Honda. So a great start for the Phoenix Racing Honda boys out front, 1 and 2. Here comes now our 3rd place rider, and that is still Grant Davis on that number 2 factory FMF KTM there here at the FMF Camp Coker GNCC. So a good start for the FMF guys. And then it is Ben Kelly up now to the number 4 spot and charging hard early. We saw through several of the races so far, Ben seems to get warmed up as the race goes on. There's Cody Barnes, there's Liam Draper, so that is 5th and 6th. There is Craig DeLong 7th, and just behind him looks like Stu Baylor in 8th on that 514. Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki, and look at this, Jackson, visibility now down to 0. A rider went by to the left, but we have absolutely no idea who it is.
Yeah, an absolute curtain of dust here in Society Hill, South Carolina. Johnny, we saw this yesterday. We knew it was going to be a dusty one here today, but man, nothing can really prepare you for something quite like this.
Absolutely. There is Josh Toth, another one of those Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki riders. Should see our XC2 riders starting to come through. There is Thad Duvall on that Racecraft Racing Husqvarna. And this looks like
Medaglia and Grant Baylor, I believe.
Yep, there you go. So still more of our XC1 riders coming through. Not quite kicking up as much dust. It seems like when we had those packs of 4 and 5 riders coming through. Look at this. Here is your XC2 leader, and that is Gus Reardon on screen. There is Toby Cleveland in the number 2 spot. Look like it may have still been Jack Walker there. There's Jason Tino. There's Nick DeFeo and Brody Johnson. So that is your top 5 or 6 through now in that XC2 class. And those guys are on the charge trying to close up that gap. We see so often that XC2 class up into overall podium positions, or in the case of many of the races, dominating the top 5 overall. They are just so quick here early on lap number 1. This track a little bit different. You know, with the dust, it's going to be harder for them once they do get to those XC1 riders to pick their way through. Hard to tell who that was. There might have been, looked like it was the 501 of JoJo Cunningham possibly. And back to the leaders out front, and it is still the number 8 of Mike Wakowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda, making tracks and making dust, leading the way here today, Jackson.
This could be what Mike was looking for, Johnny. A good start here to this one, especially on a day like today with all this dust. We'll see what's going to happen here at the finish line, though. Shouldn't be too much longer, and he's going to be making his way over there, and we'll see how long are they going to hold him for, if they hold him at all. Still not confirmed that it was Mike with that early start, but we're going to see here soon.
One thing is for sure, he is setting a great pace out front. You know, the dust can help, but you can see a lot of these sections, no dust at all. So it's not just that he's completely, you know, limiting the visibility of the riders behind him. He's actually riding away from them right now, which speaks volumes about his confidence and how he's riding. There is still Davis in the number 3 spot. That was Ashburn just ahead of him in 2nd. We are expecting next our defending champion and points leader, Ben Kelly, looking like he might have lost a little bit of ground here at the 11-mile marker. So last mile of trail, things opening up a bit already in that XC1 class. And there is Ben Kelly coming through in the number 4 spot.
So there it is, Johnny. As we continue to wait and watch here we go. Another rider making his way through, Liam Draper, that bright orange helmet. But when we take a look here at the 2026 series points, so many different riders not able to score any points as Craig DeLong and Stu Baylor now make their way by, and not used to seeing that here in the GNCC series. Most of the time they're pretty consistent. There goes Cody Barnes now making his way by, but yeah, seeing a lot of misses this year.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of mixed up results already early in the season through 3 rounds. I think there is Josh Strang, the other of the 2 XC1 Liqui factory betas there, running tail end of the top 10, but we expect to see Josh continue to be stronger as the race goes on. We've seen him really charging late in these races here as of late. There's Thad Duvall. There was Josh Toth coming through. But I think those mud races, a big factor in the inconsistency that we've seen. There is Grant Baylor. It just really tests both man and machine, and that's a lot of, we see a lot of, when you look at the top 20 points, you see a lot of holes there where riders haven't scored any any points at given rounds. Obviously, Stu Baylor not scoring any points at round number 2. Nick DeFeo not scoring any points at round number 2. Interestingly enough, neither of those were mud-related. But if you look down through the top 20, there's a whole lot of riders missing scores. And to your point, I think we have a rider that is really notable missing some scores there.
Yeah, no doubt. Josh Strang missing some. Johnny Gerard, of course, still out. Not going to be here with us this weekend. Grant Davis, he has not scored any points at round 1 or 3. I mean, the list goes on and on. Cody Barnes missing 1. Brody Johnson, Angus Reardon. Angus only scoring points there in round number 1, getting a 5th overall spot, but not seeing him up on the charts whatsoever at the last 2 races. I feel like Angus is due for a good finish here at the GNCC series. And I was talking to him. I love Angus's attitude towards things, Johnny, and it could be took sometimes the wrong way, but I truly think he means it. I was talking to him on the line. I said, what's the plan here? We're going to go to the outside off the start? He said, wherever my front wheel takes me.
Yep.
And then that's just the way he looks at things. There goes Stu Baylor. He's on the charge here at the mile 12 mark.
Yeah, see if he has potentially gotten around. Does not look like he's gotten around Craig DeLong yet. There is Cody Barnes just behind him, the first of those 2 factory beta machines. But yeah, Grant Davis, obviously, I think his 2 non-point scoring rounds, actually looks, that was DeLong there, so something happened to DeLong.
Ryder Lafferty able to pick up a spot now.
Yep, so DeLong dropping back a couple of spots. There's Stu Baylor getting around, Cody Barnes getting around, and Ryder Lafferty as well. Back to the front, Mike Wakowski out front and working his way through this trackside pitting section as they work their way towards the finish line chicanes. But speaking back to Grant Davis a little bit, with no points in first 2 of the first 3 rounds, you know, that's definitely putting him in a challenging position through a 13-round series to have to make up potentially 60 lost points. Looking at the points as they run, Davis sitting back in that number 10 spot overall with only 25 points, whereas Ben Kelly out front with 63 points. So he is upwards of 32 points behind already. So that is, more than that. He's 25, 75. Yeah, he is 65 would be 40. So he's 38 points behind already, which is a full race plus, making it not impossible. It's a 13-round series, but you have to think Grant Davis was a rider who was on a very short list of riders we were expecting to not only win races, but be very much locked up in a championship battle throughout the season. Well, while Grant Davis may find himself there, and here's the answer to the question, Mike Wakowski did start early. He knows it. He's being penalized. He's trying to have a discussion, but he knows he's going to be held, and he's looking back to see if he's done enough to still keep himself near the front of the field. But starting early, definitely being penalized there. And you see there is Phoenix Racing Honda team manager and owner David Eller, and looks like Wakowski is now done being assessed at a penalty, still in the 3rd place spot. So damage control there done for him. He was able to sprint hard enough on lap number 1 to not really have himself too far back in the pack, despite that miscue of hitting that starter button a little early.
No doubt about it, Johnny, and you know that heart rate has to be at an all-time high. You could see the adrenaline flowing as he was waiting there and having to watch those riders go by him.
Yeah, that's it's a bummer, but you know, sometimes you got to just use that as an opportunity to lower the heart rate a little bit, kind of take a breath. Didn't see him take a drink of water or anything like that, but it is still very early in the race, and just tell yourself, hey, this could have been a lot worse. You know, had he have not gotten a good start or had a bad first lap, he still would have been assessed that penalty because he did start early. So really kind of a best case scenario for a bad situation. Still up inside the top 3 in the running order and can also see the riders in front of him still as well. So he definitely rode a very aggressive pace that first lap, and it paid off for him, keeping him in touch with the race leaders despite being assessed the penalty for starting early.
No doubt. So new leader Jordan Ashburn now going to be in control of this one as he makes his way through the pro pits.
Yep, coming through the pro pits for the first time. Doubt we'll see really too many stops. Looks like we're going to see a hydration handoff. See Jordan's wife there handing him a bottle. He's taking some hydration, potentially some nutrition as well. We know this is going to be a very rough race course here today. The temperature's not quite as warm as what we often see here at round number 4. And it is still Grant Davis in the number 2 spot, and there is Wakowski in 3rd. So your top 3 on screen here from our Yamaha Racing live drone. Wakowski going back to work, trying to close the gap back up on Grant Davis. And there is Ben Kelly there in the number 4 spot. Here comes Draper in 5th. Again, all these guys, bottles hanging. Everybody taking the opportunity. So now it is Baylor up to the number 6 spot, Jackson.
Yeah, Stu holding on to it. And it going to take a look at some lap times here. Here from lap number 1, a 28:40 there for Ashburn. Grant Davis at 28:48, and then Mike Wakowski a 28:20. But Ben Kelly a 29:01. So those are going to be the gaps here on the opening lap complete.
Well, and that shows you just how much that 30-second penalty kind of looms in there. If you look, 28 seconds was the difference between Wakowski and Davis on that first lap of racing, and Wakowski basically coming out virtually on the rear wheel of Davis. So it would have, I would venture to not even guess, but assume it was a 30-second penalty that he was assessed, dropping it back to that number 3 spot in the running order. But as we take a look here now with our XC2 riders checking in, it looks like it is the top 4 in XC1 are your top 4 overall, with Gus Reardon checking in the number 5 spot, which is your leader in that XC2 class with about a 7.7 second lead over Toby Cleveland. And then just 1 second behind Cleveland is Jack Walker, Jason Tino, Nick DeFeo. All those guys actually pushing several of the top XC1 riders outside of the top 10 overall, with Cody Barnes sitting in 12th overall, then Brody Johnson, Ryder Lafferty, Craig DeLong, and the rest starting to work their way through here. No A-riders checked in just yet, but we know those guys have been going fast as well early in these races, Jackson, and we've seen them mix it up not only inside the top 20, not only inside the top 10, but in many cases this year up inside the top 5 and even leading the overall at round number 1 quite a bit.
Yeah, no doubt. Looks like Wood is checked in on the 414 machine, as well as Whitmer able to get theirself up into the 17th and 18th place spots. So a good start for those two.
Yep, and Caleb Wood did grab the whole shot in that 258 class. I did see that before I left to head over here to the Racer TV studios. He was very quick off the line and looked very, very aggressive through the first few turns. So leading the way in that 258 class and your top overall amateur after 1 lap complete.
So there we go. Our first few made their way through. Now seeing Cody Barnes making his way through here at the mile 1 marker for lap number 2.
Just looking at the mix here, it's really heavy on XC2 as you get towards the tail end of the top 10. So some of those, it looks like the XC1 class has gotten really, really strung out here early. Don't know if that's a function of the dust. There we see Josh Strang giving chase. There is Ryder Lafferty. So Strang now around Lafferty. Craig DeLong back around Lafferty as well. In our last camera shot, we had seen that it looked like Lafferty had gotten around Craig DeLong. Now here comes Thad Duvall, and I think there is Josh Toth. Pretty soon we should be seeing the big number 6 Phoenix Racing Honda. There is Grant Baylor of Gus Reardon, and there he is on cue. That is your XC2 leader on screen, yet to grab a win here in that XC2 class with Nick DeFeo and Jack Walker running the table on those 3 so far. There's Toby Cleveland.
Here we go. Jason Tino now going to make his way by on that FMF factory KTM ride.
Don't know if I missed Jack Walker through there. That looked like DeFeo there.
It didn't. I don't believe I saw Walker myself.
There is Brody Johnson. We may have missed him. The camera was panning back and forth.
Very well, might have missed him.
He was sitting in that number 3 spot right behind Toby Cleveland, ahead of Jason Tino.
Is he on the 2-stroke here this week? I wasn't able to.
He is, yeah. He's on that 252 stroke. I believe he's going to be racing that all year here in that XC2 class. There was Cody Barnes sitting in that number 12 spot overall, looking like he's about 6th, 7th place in that XC1 class. And there is DeLong back on the charge. Something I believe may have gone amiss with Craig DeLong there, because he was running up solidly inside the top 5 and then dropped back, and it looks like he's on the charge and making up ground now. There is Josh Strang. Next rider we see should be Ryder Lafferty, and there he is on that 336 Honda. Here we see Thad Duvall on screen. Then it's Josh Toth, Grant Baylor, XC2 leader Gus Reardon coming through. And oh, look at this. Actually, that was actually Jack Walker there. So he has gotten around Toby Cleveland. There's Cleveland in the number 3 spot. So we missed Jack Walker, but we missed him the wrong direction. He has closed up the gap and is now bringing the fight to the rear wheel of your XC2 leader, Gus Reardon. Here we see Jason Tino coming through inside the top 5 in that XC2 class, and Nick DeFeo, winner of 2 of the first 3 rounds in that XC2 class. running strong here early on at this one. Brody Johnson, another rider who's been very consistent through the early parts of 2026. Another rider that's been very consistent as we wait and watch for some more of our XC2 riders, sitting in that number 2 spot in the overall points. Jordan Ashburn sitting in the number 2 spot, or sorry, leading on track now. We actually had a chance to check up with Jordan, get his thoughts on everything from the new team to what he's got going on here in 2026 as we were heading into round number 4.
Yeah, we're sitting second still in points. The gap closed up a lot, so, everybody's really close behind, but, it is what it is. It's a long season, and Ben gained a few points, but we'll just keep chipping away and take each weekend as what it is and try to get as much as we can.
So there you go. Jordan Ashburn talking a little bit about what he's got going on here today. A new team for him this year. We were talking about this off air. Jordan's ridden really about everything, but he really seems to have found a good home there. And look at this. Now Ben Kelly is up to the rear wheel of Mike Wakowski, and it looks like he's brought Liam Draper with him. So those guys are starting to charge, and here comes Stu Baylor. He wants to join the party. This guy's now getting ever so close to Mike Wakowski to fight over that final podium position there, the number 3 spot.
Man, Stu Baylor just bulldozing his way through that section.
Stu considers this a home race. Obviously, I think Big Buck a little closer, but still in South Carolina. He and his brother Grant both obviously native South Carolinians. And looks like, is this a battle materializing for the lead?
It sure is. That's Jordan Ashburn, looks like, followed very closely now by Grant Davis.
So Grant Davis turning up the heat on that factory KTM and reeling in Jordan Ashburn on the Phoenix Racing Honda. We might see a mano-a-mano battle here in just a matter of very little time on the racetrack, because it appears that Grant Davis is very much on the charge.
Johnny, we know he's struggling with some issues with that hand there, but a rider like Grant Davis, he's not going to let that stop it.
No, and we've seen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was actually a result of a practice crash just a few days before round number 1, and we've seen him ride very strong, battling for the win right down to the final stages in Florida, which is definitely one of the rougher racetracks. So he's been able to ride through it quite well. Obviously, even if you think back to 3 weeks ago, I mean, he was in the fight with Stu Baylor for the overall win prior to his issues that led him to no points scoring on the day. There is Wakowski still in the number 3 spot, giving up a little bit of ground now to Davis. But in our last camera shot, man, it looked like Ben Kelly was right there, but he still is very close in the number 4 spot. There is Draper in 5th, and won't be long till we see the 514 of Stu Baylor there charging, coming through there in the number 6 spot.
So there he is. Speaking of Grant Davis, his teammate there at round number 2 in the WXC class, able to take a win with a broken leg. So a big shout out to her. I know having a little bit of troubles today. Here we go. Now the Beta Machine going to make his way through.
Cody Barnes looking like he's charging, was up a little bit further. Perhaps a little setback there, dropping him back. But look, again, much like Craig DeLong, looking like he's on the charge and making up ground here in lap number 2. And speaking of Craig DeLong, there he is, also on the charge. You can see just how much these bikes are moving around under these guys. This is one of those square edge sections, Jackson. We talked about it yesterday during the ATV broadcast. This actually used to be hard to tell because a lot of trees have grown up, but at one point this was a Supercross practice track for one of the factory stars of the 90s and early 2000s, Larry Ward. So that dirt's kind of been hauled in, which is why we see a lot of that square edge chop and hard packed dirt there.
Ryder Lafferty now making his way through. Now seeing Baylor, Grant Baylor making his way. And then the XC2 leader making his way through, and he's got some company. Jack Walker going to be right there in the 2nd place spot. What a way to get things started here, Johnny. Mike Wakowski, a quick jump for him off the line there. He was able to lead that opening lap, and he led it fast. He was able to get some ground between him and 2nd and 3rd place. A 30-second hold is what we believe he had. There it is, Jeremy Holbert holding him back right there as 1st and 2nd, the new 1st and 2nd made their way by. And now he's going to have to go to work and see, can he catch his teammate, Jordan Ashburn. Going to see what Jordan can do here today at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet. We'll be right back with more action on Racer TV.
let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to Society Hill for the FMF Camp Coker Bullet. Hey, we've got a little special treat for you here. I'm standing by with Ross from America's Navy Special Operations. How you doing today, Ross?
Doing good, sir. Doing good.
Well, it's sure an honor to have you guys here, and I know you're out here recruiting a little bit. What are you looking for?
We are. We came out here. We looked at the GNCC event and looked at the personnel that are racing here, that partake here, and really saw some grit in the individuals that partake and attend and the individuals that are into this sport. Surface level, yeah, we're out here to spread some word about Navy and the opportunities that they have. Deeper level, though, we're looking for individuals with grit to entertain the special operations community. It consists of SEALs, SWIC, EOD, Navy divers, and HMATF and air rescue candidates.
Oh, that's amazing. I think you came to the right place to do it. We can see right here. We played this yesterday as well. Had some of your robots out. What exactly we have there?
Yeah, it's a couple of explosive ordnance disposal robots. It's used to investigate suspicious packages or move material that might be dangerous to other individuals and generally inspect things that we're not sure what it is.
Well, Ross, it sure is an honor to have you out here this weekend with us. What have you been seeing? You've been watching some racing?
We have been watching some racing. Saw a couple bottlenecks, and it was really impressive to just see some of the racers thinking outside the box, and instead of the bottleneck, they worked their way around it. Saw a couple racers get off and help the other ones. It was kind of the little tykes out there that were doing it. Really impressed. I don't think I would have been running nearly that hard at that age.
No doubt about it. Well, Ross, how can people get in contact with you? Maybe some folks at home, how could they get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, real easy way is just log on Navy.com. You can fill your information out there. If it's something that interests you, I personally been doing SWIC for many years, so click on that SWCC tab on Navy.com, entertain that. It's a pretty high-speed job, and driving fast boats offshores, it's a good time. But Navy.com, you can locate a recruiter there and type your zip code in. It'll send you in the right direction.
All right. Well, good deal, Ross. Thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for spending some time with us here. Once again, guys, check them out if you're interested. They're looking for people just like what we have right here in the racing community. All right, welcome back, Johnny G in here. Johnny, what have you been seeing out on the track?
Well, it looks like things are tightening up front as Grant Davis continuing to put pressure on the big number 3 of Jordan Ashburn. Now we see Thad Duvall coming through. Here is S'more. Looks like he has now gotten around Ryder Lafferty, so Thad's starting to stir there, making up a few spots on track. And, man, a very tough race course out there today. There is Grant Baylor. Looks like he has now gotten around Josh Toth, as has Gus Reardon, but look at that, still right on the rear wheel of Reardon. It is Jack Walker on that factory beta. Already has a win here in 2026 and looking today very racy, putting some pressure on the heavy favorite coming into 2026. And here is your third place rider, Toby Cleveland. We mentioned fresh off a big win at the U.S. Sprint Enduro. Now there is Toth. A rider still kind of riding himself back into racing shape here, back to the battle for the lead out front, and it's Jordan Ashburn kicking up dust. But, oh, that's actually not, oh, it is Grant Davis. I was wondering why he was going so slow, but he was getting a hydration bottle there. You can see these guys really focused on the hydration today. Jackson, multiple points out on the racetrack. Not very warm here today, cooler temps, but this track really just takes it out of you, so they're making sure that they are properly hydrated and also nutrition. A lot of those guys will run calories, carbs, all kinds of different stuff in those bottles to keep themselves fueled through this long 3-hour race. And a lot goes on in these 3-hour races, but sometimes as much what happens on the racetrack can also be a byproduct of things that happen coming into the races. And this week, one of our own GNCC racers, Levi Baylor, son of Stu Baylor, having a pretty difficult week, and we had a chance to talk with Stu Baylor about just how that might be weighing on his mind coming into the race here today, and how that'll play into his result and also his effort over the course of this Camp Coker GNCC today.
Levi broke his femur this week, so my little boy won't be here, won't be going to the start with me, so he's pretty bummed out to miss this one. So shout out to him watching from back home on the couch. I know he's pretty upset. He thought that Ryder and the Paw Patrol picked him up in the helicopter, and everybody took care of him. So he's just ready to get back on his bike. He's bummed he's not here with all of his friends, but he was unconscious for quite a while. So, you know, with a head injury, we just can't overstimulate him. And obviously, he had surgery. He's not weight bearing for 6 to 8 weeks. So for him, it's going to be really tough watching the races from the sidelines, because he loves being out here, loves playing with his friends. But he's tough as nails. I wish he would have got a little bit less of me and him, because it's different on this side of the chair. My wife's like, now you see, like, you broke your neck and we're just worried about coming back to race, and then your very next race, they called in a helicopter for you, and your dumbass turned down the helicopter rides because you didn't want to pay for it. Like, now you see what I deal with, and I've never got to be on this side of the chair. So yeah, she's taking it better than I am, but yeah, it's a bummer watching him.
Well, there you have it in his own words. Obviously a rough week for the Baylor family. Jade and also Levi watching at home. We miss you guys this weekend. Miss having you out here cheering Stu on. Levi partaking in some of the racing action as well, sometimes here in GNCC in his young racing career. But interesting to see that perspective from Stu. You know, he's a racer, he's a team owner, owns the National Enduro Series now as well. So he's got a lot of things on his plate. But I think this week his focus really just on making sure that his little boy was okay, and saying maybe now he understands a little bit more about not only what he puts his wife through, but what he's put his parents through. And that really is just a perspective change for him. And dad life, man, you know, you wear a lot of hats, but sometimes the most important one comes down to dad, and Stu wears it very well.
Yeah, he sure does. And we know Levi, he's got the Baylor blood in him, so he'll be back out here and charge him before we know it. Back to the racing action out on the track. Still the same running order here with what appears to be Ashburn followed by Davis. Davis going to be right there, just a few bike links back. But, Johnny, not seeing a real urgency here from Grant Davis. Seems like he's just kind of waiting and watching at this point in the race. But that's a tough position to be in just as far as the dust goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the dust definitely a factor with visibility, but also, you know, Grant is on a different bike this weekend. I did check. We talked to him. We didn't get an interview, but he is on that KTM 450 this weekend. Obviously, the first part of 2026, he's been on the KTM 350 machine last year in the XC2 class on the 250, so he's bumped up another 100 cc's, but it's more than just that. From what I'm told, not good enough to know the differences, but I'm told that bike really does ride differently. Grant's been riding it during the week, saying he just feels maybe a little more comfortable on it. A lot of speculation as to why or why not he would have made that change, but deciding this was the weekend for it, saying he feels better on it, and looking good so far here in the number 2 spot. So maybe just kind of new machine, new terrain, letting it all come to him. But, I mean, the guy in front of him, a former series champion in his own right, Jordan Ashburn, obviously not going to make it easy for Grant Davis to get around, even if Grant does decide it's time to go. And you can see right here, it looks like Jordan actually has a little more pace through this section of racetrack. So it's kind of a cat and mouse game right now. This is that very tight bike-only section here out in the very back of this Maurice Sportsman Preserve, now out into the open stuff. And it looks like Jordan Ashburn back on the throttle making dust, and Grant Davis just looks very smooth. He's kind of content to sit there a few bike lengths off, and it looks like he might just be letting the race come to him. But one thing's for sure, you know, they do have some company not too far behind them in the form of Mike Wakowski, and also we know Ben Kelly in that mix. We know Liam Draper in that mix. We know Stu Baylor in that mix. So a lot of fast riders with a whole bunch of race wins on their own just behind this group out front. So we'll see how this shakes out. But right now, it's Jordan Ashburn setting the pace out front, and Grant Davis matching him every step of the way.
Hydration definitely going to be a key here today. We saw Grant Davis taking that bottle just a minute ago, Johnny, and to expand on that a little bit more, I have to believe some of it, getting a mouthful of dust out there, going to help the breathing just a little bit to be able to get some water, get some fluid, and keep you under control.
Well, flashback to yesterday's race, those of you that joined us during our coverage from yesterday, Bryson Neal getting a bad start, having to come through the pack, and after the race, during his post-race interviews, we saw a lot of, he was kind of like clearing his throat, full face and lips covered. He was immediately drinking water, trying to clear it out. He ingested so much of this dust, it really was affecting not only his breathing, but his speech. So that just goes to show how thick this dust can be. There is Ashburn on screen. Davis running a little different line there to the inside, kind of hopping his way through some of the rougher sections of this track here at mile marker number 10. And look at this. It is still Wakowski in the number 3 spot. Still Kelly, 4th. Liam Draper there in the number 5 spot. And Stu Baylor just charging right up the gut through that line. Not really looking for smooth running around room, just trying to get through there quickly and trying to get close enough to Draper to potentially make a move to wrestle away that spot. And now that front group has started to break away from the riders behind them. And those should be, in the overall, it's our XC2 riders, but we're looking back to Cody Barnes, Craig DeLong, Josh Strang being the next group. And there is Cody Barnes sitting in the number 7 spot in that XC1 class, although he's bumped all the way back right now, or at least at the completion of the first lap, back to 12th in the overall. Now it's DeLong charging. We saw him a little further up inside the top 5 early on. A miscue set him back off camera, and he's been charging back up. He's gotten around Ryder Lafferty. He's gotten back around Josh Strang. He's gotten around quite a few riders, looking like he has some pace. We'll see if he's able to run down Cody Barnes and make that a fight over the number 7 spot. Now those two have opened up a gap. So we see the gaps opening up. We saw this yesterday too. This racetrack just kind of stretches out the racing.
Here we go. The number 7 now making his way through. Going down in that first turn, was made some moves quick. Get back in the fight here in this one.
Currently running in the number 9 spot, and then in 10th in that XC1 class, it is that ball in the 989 Racecraft Racing Husqvarna. And it comes Grant Baylor, another South Carolina native, there in the number 11 spot. Interesting to see how some of these riders, different riding styles, how much dust gets kicked up by some versus others. Lafferty around the outside, and here comes the battle for the XC2 lead. Gus Reardon has the lead, and Jack Walker wants a piece of it, really charging on that Beta. So it's a battle between the Beta and the Phoenix Racing Honda right now for the lead in that XC2 class.
Yeah, Jack Walker is not letting up, as now we see Toby Cleveland, our 3rd place here in the XC2 class, making his way by. Cleveland going to be kind of there in no man's land. And now we see Toad definitely having a little bit of troubles here, Johnny.
Yeah, Toad, we spoke briefly about him a few moments ago there, just kind of still rotting himself into shape. Now up to 4th in that XC2 class is the 235. Another of those Racecraft Racing Husqvarnas, that is Brody Johnson. Toth having that very, very difficult leg injury late in 2025. And from reports that I've heard, I haven't spoken to Josh himself, still having some pain, still really working on getting healed up. You know, just trying to get back to full strength and being able to ride like we know that Josh Toth is capable of as a former race winner here in GNCC and also an XC2 champion in this series. So he definitely has the speed and the chops to get it done. And Jordan Ashburn, normally a smooth rider, looks like he's really just kind of bulldogging those bumps. And it looks like Grant Davis is finding the smooth lines, kind of just easily applying the throttle to that 450. But here comes the battle. Look at that. 4 riders all in the same camera shot in that number 3 spot. Still Wakowski. Just behind him, Kelly there in 4th, and Draper 5th, and Stu Baylor 6th, all kicking up dust in that same camera shot here at mile marker number 11.
Yeah, Stu Baylor has officially entered the chat there in that battle. Going to be a good one, as now we pop ahead, I should say, to our 1st and 2nd place of Ashburn and Davis. Looks like Ashburn been able to put a little bit of ground between himself and Davis now, Johnny.
Yeah, it's kind of been seesawing back and forth between these two. Not any huge gaps opening up, but definitely it seems like right now that's one of the bigger gaps we've seen Jordan Ashburn have here throughout lap number 2. Then it's Craig DeLong back at the 11-mile marker. Here's Davis just hopping his way through those pines, one of the iconic sections here at Maurice Sportsman Preserve, our Camp Coker FMF Bullet GNCC. We've run that for many years, and it's a split line pine section where you kind of have to choose at the entrance which of the 2 lines you want. And it's very interesting because throughout the race, what was the fast line will kind of change, and if you miss the change, you're leaving time on the track, and you can also lose positions there as well. Once you're committed to one side or the other, very difficult, not impossible, but at speed, very difficult to jump over to the other row of pines, even if the line becomes better. So we may see which of the faster lines change throughout the entirety of this 3-hour race here today.
Speaking of which, going to be about 58 minutes. You can see it in the top left hand of your screen. So about a third of the way through. And it sounds like spotters telling us we have a pass by Stu Baylor. So starting to work his way up into that group of riders. 4 riders there all going to battle in our XC1 class.
Here we see. So it looks like there is Wakowski in 3rd. It is still Ben Kelly in 4th, but Stu Baylor around Liam Draper and now up to the number 5 spot. Baylor never known as a great starter, but he is definitely putting some pressure here early, making moves, making up ground, and trying to get closer to the battle for the podium, which is just a few seconds ahead of him. Looked almost like, I believe that was Grant Davis, looking like he was almost washing out there. Could have just been a little glitch in the camera, but Jordan Ashburn really setting a good pace up front. There's Cody Barnes sitting in the number 7 spot. Yeah, Ashburn looking very, very comfy out front on that new Phoenix Racing Honda ride. Just his 4th go with that team and looking strong out front, leading the way. You know, those guys are going to be doing a little extra cheering, waving those red towels in the pits when he comes through. Looking at the way this one's shaping up, curious to see if we're going to end up having a 6-lap race or if this will be a 5. We do still have quite a bit of racetrack left in front of us. We'll leave that to the race officials, but thinking we might be looking down at what may turn into a 6-lap race, which if that's the case, this one is going to be brutal.
Yeah, very well could be. Watching from the Yamaha Racing live drone as they work through the final few sections.
Still Ashburn leading the way. Still Davis there in the number 2 spot. Davis looking like he is unable so far to really make a move. He's gotten to the rear wheel of Ashburn several times, but he's never been able to show him a wheel just yet. Jordan Ashburn looking very smooth and confident out front. We can see different lines there. Grant Davis kind of looking for some little less square edge, maybe a little bit of running room there. But right now, the pace that Jordan Ashburn is laying down is keeping Grant Davis at bay, just a handful of bike lengths behind. We see this awesome drone shot here. We get to see just what it feels like to be out in the fields here at Camp Coker and absolutely shredding on a 450cc motorcycle, just pushing the pace.
Yeah, final few corners here before they check back in. And as they do check back in, Johnny, right at the hour mark, it is getting close. It very well could be a 6-lap race here in this one. We should be getting that here soon to know exactly what it's going to be. But yeah, it definitely is looking like it could be a 6-lap one.
Yeah, we'll wait until we get our official word from race control on that one, but looking like it may shape up to be a 6-lap race. Jordan Ashburn out front now with 2 laps complete. Grant Davis just behind him. We could count it in seconds or we could count it in inches. 2.1 seconds is the gap right now, but Davis starting to look racy. Maybe it's just been a kind of wait-and-see game for Jordan Ashburn, and maybe he's going to turn up the pace and try to run away, but I think Grant Davis looking right now here in just these last couple corners to really be the aggressor. I think this is the most aggressive we've seen him riding, and looking like he may want to try to get up close enough to Ashburn to make a move. Will we see it here in this section? Davis, the closest we've seen him all day long, and Ashburn sensing the pressure, looking like he's a little harder on the throttle, throwing a little more roost, does not want to give up the front position.
Not at all, man. Things are starting to heat up now. Grant Davis to the rear wheel of Ashburn. Could this be it? To the inside. Not quite enough yet for Davis. Into a hairpin corner there.
And now Grant Davis starting to get impatient. Jordan Ashburn pushing, but Grant Davis is matching him move for move. Will we see any pit stops this time through?
Some hydration there for Davis.
No pit stop for Ashburn. Does not look like a pit stop for Grant Davis either, meaning that no matter how many laps this is, these guys are looking to go with a one-stop strategy.
So Johnny Davis able to get his water. Ashburn missing his water bottle there and falling to the ground, so no hydration for Ashburn.
The heart rates are going up, and look at this, the battle behind. Stu Baylor now putting some pressure on Ben Kelly, wanting a piece of that 4th place spot, with Wakowski just a bit ahead of them there. Back to the battle for the lead. Jordan Ashburn still has it, but Grant Davis running all the lines, trying to get up next to Ashburn. We've seen him show him a wheel several times after looking like he was just kind of sitting back there. Now the tone has changed. Grant Davis very aggressive, trying to get around the Phoenix Racing Honda of Jordan Ashburn.
Man, that Phoenix Racing Honda machine rocketing into these straightaways. Ashburn seeming to be able to gain some bike links in each straightaway that they go into.
See Davis way out wide there. That section of racetrack very slick. I can tell you from experience, it's kind of like a cobblestone there. If you get too hard on the brakes or too hard on the throttle, you'll find yourself on the ground very quickly. And just as we talk about Davis to the rear wheel of Ashburn, now Ashburn stretches it out a few bike lengths. So this one is really starting to heat up, folks. If you're watching at home, we've got all this racing action live brought to you on Racer TV. We've got our Yamaha Racing Live drone, and you're getting to follow along virtually through the entirety of this battle. We've seen Davis pull right up to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn many times, not able to make the pass, and now Ashburn has picked up the pace and starting to stretch it out just a few bike lengths over Grant Davis.
I've got to give it to Ashburn here on this one, able to answer back when he felt the pressure there from Davis.
Yeah, for a moment there, it looked like it was a foregone conclusion that Grant Davis would make the pass. He just seemed so aggressive, seemed to have the pace. But the lore of GNCC, Jordan Ashburn, one of the toughest guys to pass. He's always able to respond. He runs such good lines, just never makes the mistake, never gives up the position. If you want to pass Jordan Ashburn, you have to take it from him. And Grant Davis is finding that out in his first year in the XC1 class.
Here we go, the battle heating up now for that 3rd place spot as Ben Kelly tries to put some moves on the 8 machine of Wakowski.
And this is shaken up as well because it was Stu Baylor that was putting the pressure on Ben Kelly. Now Kelly is putting the pressure on Wakowski, so that has changed up as well. Perhaps sensing the pressure of Baylor behind him, he ratcheted up the pace, and now he's trying to work his way around Wakowski for the number 3 spot, and they have pulled away just a little bit from Stu Baylor. Back now to the number 6 spot. It is, we've lost. Was that Draper or was that Cody Barnes that just came through? I looked down for a half a second, looked up, saw some blue. Looks like, according to scoring, it was still Liam Draper in the number 6 spot. So we'll assume that was Draper. But no, here comes Craig DeLong. We're looking back to see if we have a replay there. Almost looked to me like it was Cody Barnes. It was. That was Liam.
I think that was Cody Barnes.
That was Barnes there? Okay.
I do believe so. Blue and red bike making his way by.
So then Barnes may have dropped back, and DeLong has gotten around him. Because it was definitely DeLong that just came through here at the 1 mile marker. Here we go. Battle for the lead on screen. Okay, so we are being told that it was I thought that was Cody Barnes now up to the number 6 spot. Liam Draper dropping back to behind Craig DeLong. So there's your 3rd place ride. There's 4th. That's Ben Kelly. There is Stu Baylor in 5th. Wait a minute.
That is Liam Draper.
That's Liam Draper. So Draper did not lose ground. He actually made up spots. So now he is now up to that battle over the final podium spot. So it was Barnes we saw, but we missed Draper. Now here comes Barnes, still in the number 7 spot. So Draper in 6th is now right to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor, who's right to the rear wheel of Ben Kelly, who's right to the rear wheel of Mike Wakowski. So we have got a whole slew of riders gunning for that podium position, all wheel to wheel, and the action is just heating up out there.
How about it? 2 FMF KTM factory racing boys chasing after 2 Phoenix Racing Hondas. And now seeing Craig DeLong. So let's see who this is behind DeLong. Is that the number 7 machine of Strang? I believe it is.
Yeah, it would be Strang coming next. Sitting in what would be the 9th place spot. There it is. There's Strang. Cody Barnes is teammate and also team manager of that Liquimala factory beta team. Just outside the top 10 in the overall once we mix the XC2 riders in, running solidly here today, the big number 7 of Josh Strang. The dust just looming here. No wind really to speak of. We've had wind all weekend, and now when we need it at race time to push this dust out of the way, the wind just dies down. You can see the leaves on the trees and not even moving. Here comes your XC2 leader, Gus Reardon. So Phoenix Honda Racing leading the way in both the XC1 and XC2 classes at the moment. A great showing for that team here in the sands of South Carolina. He has now opened up that gap. We saw he had some pressure from Jack Walker, but now he has opened up the gap. Now there is Walker in the number 2 spot.
Grant Baylor now making his way through here at the mile 2. Panning back, going to have some room behind of Grant now, and seeing Toby Cleveland, our 3rd place there in the XC2 250 Pro class, making his way through.
There is Ryder Lafferty. Josh Toth. Brody Johnson on the number 235, another one of our XC2 riders sitting in that number 4 spot.
Johnny, we've got ourselves a mix-up, Hollywood saying, and here it is right on our screen. Our spotter told it, and it is true. Grant Davis has overtaken the lead here at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet.
So Grant Davis patient through the first 2 laps of racing. As soon as they went through the finish line, he started getting closer and more aggressive, and he has now made the pass here early on in lap number 3. As we will be approaching the halfway point of this one when this lap is complete here at the 2-mile marker. Now back ahead to the 11. They're not quite there yet, but they're working their way that direction.
Johnny, you can see just how rough this course is getting here through this camera shot. Seeing one of our amateur riders making their way by.
That's actually Brady Myers, one of the Racecraft Racing Husqvarna machines, good buddy of Thad Duvall's.
Nice hop skipping his way through it, but man, take a look at those ruts going around through the trees. So, of course, this is the FMF Camp Coker Bullet. FMF in the house with us this weekend, the House of Power. We were able to catch up with him.
Kyle Dangler with FMF Racing, title sponsor of Camp Coker GNCC. We're stoked for it. We're out here with the rig. We've got all of our stuff. We've got 2-stroke, 4-stroke exhaust on hand. We've got our new fire pits. We've got toy motorcycles, ton of hats, a little bit of everything. We're racing ourselves. I'm going to do 40A for the first time. I don't know what, maybe my buddy taught me into it, but we'll see how that's going to go. Camp Coker is always a great course, so actually really excited for it. Come over, check us out. We've got everything in here we need, from all the exhaust. Come by, say hi, grab stickers, whatever it is. We're going to be here all weekend hanging out.
So there it is, and Dangler actually getting a whole shot here earlier, Johnny. So love to see it and appreciate FMF supporting this Camp Coker Bullet. And now going to look here at our first place of Davis making his way by.
Yep.
Oh, they're already through. That's Ben Kelly making his way through here at the mile 4 marker. And then look at that, Stu Baylor.
So it looks like, if that is correct, they have both made the pass on Wakowski and as has Liam Draper, unless we missed. Nope, there is Wakowski. So Wakowski dropping from the number 3 spot all the way back to, looks like 6th, just ahead of Cody Barnes sitting in the number 7 spot. So big drop back there for Mike Wakowski in that section of racetrack after a very, very quick start. Obviously, leading lap number 1, being penalized 30 seconds, dropping him back to 3rd place physically in the running order, holding on to that position for another full lap of racing before giving up those spots, now back into the number 6 spot.
Johnny, is this a Supercross track portion of the
It is. This is Larry Ward's Supercross track many years ago. This is kind of the back edge of it. But different clay they hauled in to build this back in the day. And here we see Josh Strang looking like he's getting a little hydration from the Camelback. Dusty, not super hot here today, but we mentioned it many times. These guys really staying on top of the hydration here.
This FMF Camp Coker Bullet track is getting so rough, it's hard to tell the difference between the Supercross track and what is just another part of our trail. Man, things have been heating up at the front of the pack. And Grant Davis, he is on fire here today. The Playboy looks like he has came to play as he continues to lead the way right now out on the course. Jordan Ashburn going to be sitting in that 2nd place spot. And then another one of our FMF factory KTM racers right in there with Ben Kelly. We'll be right back with more action on Racer TV.
Hey race fans, Gear Bicycles is on hand today with the all-new Gen 4 Specialized Levo. They also have great deals on Gen 3 Levos and used bikes. Stop by their booth and see for yourself how fun it could be riding around these GNCC hills. Gear Bicycles is sponsored by Progressive. When you stop by their booth, you can find out why it's important to insure your e-bike, dirt bike, ATV, or RV. Once again, thanks for being here today, and enjoy your day.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to the 2026 FMF Camp Coker Bullet in beautiful Society Hill, South Carolina, the Maury's Sportsman Preserve, and you can see it right here on screen. One of our many ponds that we have out here. And, man, we've had a great time. We've had the fishing tournament. We've had the whole 9 yards. Hey, speaking of it, I believe that we actually have a feature on that fishing tournament. I'm going to throw it to that real quick. We had a great time. We even had DJ Judd out in the water a little bit yesterday, but
Camp Coker Bullet, Browns RV.
You can see it yourself. It was on cumulative length here yesterday. I kept saying it was on weight. It was on length. And I believe the biggest fish that we saw caught 16 inches, Johnny. That was a good one. And caught by one of our juniors. We had an 11-year-old and under and a 12-year-old and over. Of course, I had all my corny fishing jokes out there. It was a great time. You can see it right there. The boys measuring them up. Everybody having a great time last night. I'd like to welcome in the golden boy, Brock Glover. Brock, how's it going, man?
Just love to be here. Love to be here, man. Thanks for having me sit in and catch up a little bit. My flight was delayed leaving Detroit, or Detroit, as they say up there in the north. And I just got here and then couldn't find my bag. And you know how things. Somebody didn't want me to see the start of the race, but now I've caught up with what's going on. It's pretty close action here.
Yeah, too bad you weren't here last night, or you'd have got to get a chance at winning one of these Baylor string jerseys that we had here. It was the Browns RV fishing tournament going on, so those boys, some Browns RV racers, so they were nice enough to give us some jerseys. And then just before we went fishing, we had our Stasic race, and our EPW Stasic race, and that's always one of the biggest hits, Brock.
Well, the quad race was fun to watch. I sent in a text. That's some of the closest racing I've seen in a while on the four wheels there. It was fun to watch while I was up in did the Supercross there, and I pulled it up on my computer and caught it on the Racer TV.
Yeah, love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Yeah, good battles yesterday, all day, including yesterday evening. We can see a very technical Stasic track. We had some off-campers, some sand, some grass, and these kids just absolutely sent it. If you come check out a GNCC and you have a Stasic age rider or racer, bring them out, kind of introduce them to just the vibe of GNCC, man. You see a lot of our pro riders out there, amateur riders just cheering them on, all the parents. We even have Ricky Towery making sure they have the very official GNCC flagging experience. He gets out there, gives the kids a little speech before they get going. We got the arch set up there from Osborne Off-Road. And, man, the Stasic races not to be missed here at GNCC. Each of the kids participating, getting a medal. And the best part is when you ask them, did you win? Every one of them answers, yep.
And
they did.
They got it to prove it.
That's right.
They got the medal to prove it.
You think about the next generations of riders. I mean, when we were kids, if we would have had a chance to do Stasic, and then they just continue on, and oh my goodness, look at that!
This was, you going to talk about fishing?
Wow,
that thing was 36 inches long and 112 pounds, and that's my fishing story. I'm sticking to it. I actually need a little assistance to lift that thing up. I wasn't in the tournament though. That was just I hadn't actually gone fishing in over a decade. Some friends asked if I wanted to go, and first cast, I snagged that big boy and said, I'm retired for another 10 years.
Grant, your head.
Yeah, exactly. Grant Davis out front, new leader, as we mentioned before we went to break, starting to now open up a bit of a gap over the Phoenix Racing Honda of Jordan Ashburn, who has been our leader since assuming that lead when his teammate, Mike Wakowski, penalized at the end of lap number 1. Now here comes your points leader and defending champion up into the number 3 spot. Ben Kelly on that number 1 FMF Red Bull KTM. Then it is Stu Baylor on the 514 machine, and bringing Liam Draper on that Ampro Racing Yamaha behind him, and they are charging, trying to track down Jordan Ashburn and trying to close the gap to the leader on screen.
Well, they definitely closed the gap from the time they came through the pits last time. They're much closer this time around, that's for sure. And Ben Kelly had a little stall over here. I'm sure jumped the little heartbeat of the KTM crew, but he got it fired right back up and took back off.
Yeah, still running solidly in a podium position. Looks like Wakowski's starting to fade back a little bit closer now. Cody Barnes is almost to the rear wheel, and now here comes Craig DeLong on that Rockstar Racing Husqvarna. You know, Brock, opportunity for a shameless plug. I know you're not asking for it, but Dunlop kind of having a lot of tire selections, but this weekend we saw a lot of one specific tire here this weekend with the sand and the conditions. You know, tell us a little bit about tire selection and how it relates to a course like this. We've talked about, I know you've been around, checked this place out, but a real versatile tire you guys have there, able to kind of grip the sand and also the hard pack. Seems like most of the Dunlop riders all kind of gravitating towards the same selection.
Yeah, and you could have never predicted that when planning that tire. I mean, the MX-14, the scoop tire as everybody calls it, we continued, you know, with each variation in each generation of the scoop tire. We had the MX-11, went to the MX-12, skipped that semi-unlucky, some people think 13, we went right to 14. But the target for that tire was to make it work more and more into the, you know, medium soft terrain moto and be able to be just as good in the bottomless sand of some of the tracks that we've seen from Palatka, obviously, and then in Moto you see the Southwicks. But gosh, we had no idea that the success that tire would bring, and even we've been able to prove it on data acquisition motorcycles. The fact that it is we need almost a tenth of a second quicker on the start, and gosh, you can't give up a bike length or more, a half a bike length or a bike length. Once you're out ahead like that, you've got the handlebar on somebody. So these guys are picking it a lot just based off of the start, but I don't know. I wish for supply chain and all that. I wish they'd go back to the MX-34 and you do see some of the bikes out there earlier. Some of the WXC girls were running the traditional knobby, but man, these guys they get hooked on it and they stick with it.
Well, it's showing its mettle here today. So many of our top riders choosing that Dunlop MX-14. Obviously, some of the other teams that run different brands, some of them running a scoop. This was a kind of a discussion coming in prior to the success of the MX-14 of, well, we got some sand here, but we've also got the hard pack. As you pointed out, traditionally those scoop, almost paddle-esque tires don't do as well in the hard pack. So it was always this, you got to pick. Do you want to be good in this section of the track or that section? But with the development of that MX-14 looking like it kind of does almost the best of both worlds in a lot of ways, and we sure see a lot of those scoop tires up front, especially in those first few rows, and it's starting to proliferate its way back through the other rows, kind of leading back to your point about supply chain issues. When something's successful, you sell a whole lot of them, and I guess although it is a problem, it is a good problem to have.
I remember when Eli Tomac started running it kind of nonstop, he's like, you guys better order some more of these things. And it is true, but you kind of just judge, like, how much time do I lose in the hard pack section versus how much time do I gain in the soft sandy section. So it's just that balance, and you've got to make your call on it.
And Brock, I believe we got an AT82 as well for some of the viewers at home. A little, not quite a full-blown MX-14. I know I just got one for myself and got that scoop tire on one side of it. We seen any of that?
Yeah, the bidirectional, or you can run it one way for a little more aggressive scoop style with a V shape going on the drive side, or vice versa, depending on what. We have a lot of riders that are using that tire too. So, and again, a lot of the riders use the MX-34, which is also, the last generation from the 33 to the 34. We widened the center knob, we increased the height a little bit more on it, so it's closing that gap on the MX-14, the scoop tire in acceleration. So. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I mean, these are 3-hour races, and it's hard for me to believe that the tire's making that much difference. So many other things happen, as we saw last race. I was in Talladega there, and to see Davis get all the way up, take over the lead, and then have a problem with just, finish line almost in sight. So many other things are factors in GNCC.
Well, we'll give a little shout out there to Caleb Wood. That is our second in the top amateur. Hunter Smith leading the way in that one, also out of the 258 class, and I believe that was him a little further up the track. So. On the, was it 990 machine or 950 machine?
Yes.
Now we see Lane Whitmer on the 587, who's had some great rides here early on in 2026 from that 258 class. So those three are your top three in the 258 class, running in 19th, 20th, and Lane in 23rd place overall. Those are your top amateurs. Not often that we get to see them on screen. We always see them here on the left side of the running order. They're grayed out or in gray. I believe that's gray. I am colorblind. I should qualify that. That signifying the different classes. Obviously, the red XC1, the green XC2, and then the gray is our top amateur riders. We see them on the left side of the screen, but really cool to actually get to see them on screen. Those guys running so well, they're getting up into our camera shots here today. So Hunter Smith and Caleb Wood really on the hammer here today, laying it down in that 258 class.
And you just throw that hammer in there, the Maury Sportsman Preserve. Hammer and Hank Murray.
There you go. That was his
nickname, and Hank was a heck of a Team Green motocross rider. And last time I was here, I got to run into him, and it's been a long time. Got to catch up. It was fun to see what a wonderful facility this is for. Obviously they have a little moto section back there, but this GNCC is just perfect, tailor-made facility for GNCC racing.
Grant Davis is definitely thinking that up.
I was going to say, Hammer and Hank might have been a hammer in his own right, but right now it's Grant Davis who's laid down the hammer and stretched out a lead over Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot. And there we see 3rd and 4th, and that is Ben Kelly and Stu Baylor. Here comes your 5th place rider. Liam Draper still very much in touch with that group. The battle over 6, last we knew, was between Cody Barnes and Mike Wakowski. Should be coming our way just about any moment. Looked like Wakowski maybe, don't know if he got tight or what happened, because he had some great pace early, laying down a lap time 20 seconds faster than everybody else on the track on lap number 1. But now he has been passed by the number 99 Beta of Cody Barnes, and here comes Wakowski now back into the number 7 spot. But look at this. Craig DeLong now has his sights set on Wakowski as well, sitting in 8th and tracking down Wakowski for the number 7 spot.
Looked like that handguard was low there on DeLong as he made his way through, so tagged a tree somewhere along through the lines, I'm sure.
And that may have, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been a yo-yo effect all day, it seems like, for Liam Draper.
Yeah, you know, he seems, he caught that lead group. In fact, he was so early in our one camera shot, we weren't even expecting him, and whether we looked away or whatever happened there, we missed him and thought he had fallen away, and actually he had gotten right to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor, and now it seems like, and again, it could be sections of the racetrack. We see that so often where one guy has a section of the racetrack where he's really good, able to make up ground, and then another section of the whether it's bike setup, personal riding preference. You know, sometimes it can be a tale of two racetracks for two racers where one guy's faster on one side or even certain sections. So we won't count Draper out of this one. He's still very much in the mix in that number 5 spot with Baylor, Kelly, Ashburn, and Davis just ahead of him and charging, but he did give up some ground in our last camera shot. Now we see the battle for XC2 on screen. Gus Rudin leading the way, but Jack Walker matching him move for move. Very impressive ride here today out of Jack Walker, already with a win under his belt in 2026, looking to keep himself in a position to fight for win number 2 here today.
Yeah, just ahead of those two out of the XC2 was Josh Strang, as now we pan back forward here to our Yamaha Racing live drone. And following along with Grant Davis here on this one, as it looks like he's been able to open it up just a bit against Jordan Ashburn.
Here comes another element of GNCC racing, though. We have the lapped riders now really starting to come into play, and especially, Brock, we were talking before you came in. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go out and really kind of check out this Camp Coker racetrack, but we've got some very interesting bike-only sections that are tight, old-school single track, and quite long sections, too. It's not like they just pop into the woods for a few corners. You know, they're in there for a few minutes at a time. Lappers can become a big factor on a racetrack like that. If Grant Davis is able to clear those lappers in those sections without losing time, he can stretch that lead out. But the opposite of that, he catches him at the wrong time, we could see that group behind him that is charging very hard and close that gap up very quickly.
I think 2026 might be considered the year of the lapper. In more than one way here. It's been a hot discussion, but yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, in this particular situation, again, if you can just get by somebody, maybe take that little extra risk right before you go into that single track to get past as many lappers as you can and use them to your advantage, because, you know, dust clearing up, going in and out of the shadows makes visibility a little bit more challenging. But these bike-only sections they're terrific. It really brings back the original old school GNCC where it was a little bit more that way.
Well, as we take a look at the gap that Grant Davis has opened up, we're still waiting for, and there is the number 3 of Ashburn in the number 2 spot. Looks like he now has a little bit of breathing room over Ben Kelly and Stu Baylor. But we'll talk about that lapper, you know, kind of conundrum with Supercross. Obviously, we've seen Hunter Lawrence, and it looks like, has Stu Baylor made the pass? I don't see. Yes, Ben Kelly behind him there, just out of camera shot. So Baylor now up to the number 3 spot, and there is, oh, is that Kelly?
Hard to tell. I believe it is.
He's using some alternate lines out there, going the long ways, but trying to go by riders who are riding much slower. But yeah, Stu's got himself a little cushion now.
Yeah, riding style looks like Kelly there.
Yeah.
But Stu just hopping his way through there. Some of the XC1 and XC2 riders kind of having the debate about that whole lapper situation with Supercross. Those guys, 20 riders on the track. Again, much smaller track. There's definitely a technicality to Supercross in terms of having to hit the ruts at certain speeds to be able to make the jumps and all that. But some of the XC1 and 2 guys saying, you know, hey, these guys complaining about riders that are 1 or 2 or 3 seconds off a lap, and, you know, how they really shouldn't be on the same racetrack. You know, here in GNCC, where the men of the woods do it, you know, you're lapping riders that are B-level riders, again, in very much accomplished riders in their own right, but the difference in speed so much more pronounced here, and these guys just seem to thread the needle through the trees. Not nearly as wide of a racetrack. You know, Supercross racetracks 30 feet wide. You know, here in a lot of cases 48 inches, and they're able to make the passes on multiple lappers at once, just showing the versatility of these athletes and how many riders, you know, hundreds of riders on the track. Granted, much larger track. We're talking 13 miles here today with a lap time looking around the 31-minute range versus 40-50 seconds. But it is interesting how many riders these top riders do have to pass during a 3-hour GNCC.
Yeah, it's. I mean, to me, it's apples and oranges. Again, there are 22 guys in the Supercross, and there's discrepancy as the season goes on too. You have to keep this in mind as the season goes on, where injuries start playing more and more of a role. The field gets a little thinner after, like, we were around 11 last night. So you do have people qualifying for the main events that early in the season, first 3 or 4 rounds, didn't even sniff qualifying for the main. So it does get a little wider with skill level. But gosh, the guys up front are going so darn fast. I don't know what you can do to keep. I mean, I think they lapped Cole Davies. I mean, Liam Draper was texting me last night. How about Cole and the Whoops? These couple of New Zealanders there, Kiwis sticking together, and you understand. But it is when you start making up couples, a quarter of a second, half a second every lap, just in one section of the track, you're going to work your way towards the lapping situation. And it's just part of the game. I mean, honestly, it's the same every single year, and everybody acts like it's the first time they've ever seen a lapper, and it is part of it.
Welcome to social media.
You got it.
Grant Davis on screen coming through the final corners here. We'll wait and see if we have any indication of race time. Does not look like we have a 2-lap card in hand now with 3 laps complete. So again, I don't believe, Jackson, we've gotten confirmation, but we think we're looking at a 6-lap race potentially, meaning we should see with 3 laps complete now, Grant Davis in this section of racetrack likely coming in and getting himself some fuel in the pro pit area, possibly some more hydration, and also getting an update on exactly the gap that he has opened up over second place Jordan Ashburn. As we refresh, still no second place rider checked in. A 30:59 lap time. So about 30 seconds faster this lap for Grant Davis than the previous lap of racing.
Yeah, this is great right here. We got a killer drone shot here. Being able to see some of the trees that the foliage is not quite come into bloom yet in the spring here, so we're able to see much better. But Grant's just floating over those whoops on the pegs, riding the sand like a specialist here. You sure he's not from the Netherlands or something? It looks beautiful on the bike.
Well, the top 5 now checked in. 34 seconds behind Davis. It is Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot. 6 seconds back behind Ashburn is Baylor in 3rd. Then 3 seconds behind Baylor is Ben Kelly in the number 4 spot. Liam Draper now checked in. 7 seconds behind Ben Kelly. So the top 5 all checked in, and a little further down the racetrack. Little fumble in the pits there, losing his balance, but still going to get him in and out. He will still maintain that lead. 34 seconds is the gap he built over Jordan Ashburn in this last, not even full lap. He passed Ashburn a few miles into lap number 3 and has been able to stretch out that gap. So Grant Davis laying down the hammer just like Hammer and Hank Marie does here in his home property. And today it's Grant Davis. So nobody even coming the other way yet. So he's going to have a clear track in front of him aside from some lapped riders. We'll wait and watch and see. Will we see some passes in the pits? They're all close together.
Here we go. Phoenix Honda getting ready for the number 3 machine of Ashburn to stop by, and here it is. A splash of fuel going to get him filled up.
There goes Baylor. So he's by, but his pits are on the other side.
Let's see what happens here. Yep.
Here it is. Is Baylor going to stop? And he does. So Stu into the pits, already has those goggles off. A quick wipe of the face. So words of encouragement. He's off.
Exactly. It's kind of funny watching when Grant Davis comes in. Here's a guy that's just doing magical things on a motorcycle for 3 hours, comes into the pits, and he almost tips over and while trying to get the gas cap, and then they get the fuel in his bike. It's just a funny thing. We've all done it. Anybody that's ridden very long.
Well, you don't have to worry about balancing the motorcycle at speed. It balances itself more or less. You just stay in the middle of it. When you stop, you got to put those legs down. Long legs for Cody Barnes. Not likely to lose his balance there, but almost losing a spot to Craig DeLong. But DeLong, I believe, is pitted on the other side here, so he will still have to pull in and get some fuel, but it does not. Oh, yep. No. DeLong.
Did he pit?
He may have pitted last lap.
The previous lap, I believe, yeah.
Which would likely, in a 6-lap race, they'll put him on a 2-stop strategy where the rest of the riders in front of him all on a 1-stop strategy. So maybe not quite being confident on the fuel mileage there and opting to take that extra pit stop. Again, we didn't have it on camera. We think he may have pitted the lap before. It almost looked like he was reaching for the dry brake cap, but then he just kept hammering. And out front, hammering this Camp Coker racetrack, Grant Davis leading the way on that big 450. Yes, you heard that right. A different machine for Grant this weekend. Some struggles in 2 of the first 3 rounds. Whether it be bike-related or not, the decision was made. He's on a 450 this weekend, which is what Ben Kelly has been riding here in 2026, we are told. So now both of the factory FMF KTM XC1 riders on the 450 machine. And, you know, right now running in the number 1 and number 4 spots on that machine out there and pushing the pace. Grant Davis, man, look at that gap. Here comes Jordan Ashburn now in the number 2 spot, 34 seconds back with 3 laps down and halfway through this race. Ashburn now thick in 2-lap riders.
Hey, speaking of those lap riders, as we see Stu Baylor now making his way through 600. Stu Baylor now going to be ahead of Ben Kelly. So how about that? A new 3rd place, and Liam Draper right there as well, trying to put some moves on the number 1 machine. But as I was saying, over 600 riders were in that AM race. So Johnny, like we were saying earlier, this track got fixed up last night by the dozers after the ATVs. But when you have something of the tune of 600 plus riders out there for that AM race, it's no surprise we see these conditions we do.
Well, Jackson, I pedaled up to that starting line for the AM race, took a quick look at that lineup and thought to myself, wow, that is a lot of racers headed out on the track, and some great racing battles we saw this morning in that 10 AM race.
And why not? I mean, they faced at the round 1 there, and you look at the battle there, that the Big Buck was just such a mud race. And you had Talladega was muddy too, and these guys are just finally blue skies, beautiful conditions. Like I said, this is what I need. This is what I want to race. So everybody brings their bikes out and runs that AM race, and probably watches this PM race.
No doubt. Well, guys, taking a look here at the points, Ben Kelly going to be leading the way with 63. Then we see Stu Baylor back there in the 40 with 48 points, sitting in the 3rd place position. Both those riders able to get a win here this season. Let's hear what they had to say about the points here for 2026.
Definitely the shake-up with everybody's points there in the first couple races played into my favor to kind of get back into things there with a good result, and hopefully we can just kind of keep those going. I don't necessarily want to say a boost of confidence, but it puts a different perspective on how you line up for each race, knowing that the championship's still in sight, and we're not falling farther and farther away. We're able to chip away there at that last round. It's good. It keeps you looking forward to the next round, and yeah, it's definitely good.
So there it is from Stu Baylor, sitting in the 3rd place spot, like we said, with 48 points versus Ben Kelly 63. If Stu wants to get that points lead, he's going to have to go through Kelly. Let's hear what Kelly had to say about it.
Well, having the points lead is awesome. That's the goal. Definitely want it at the end of the season. I want to try to defend this championship, and that's the plan, and I'm feeling good about it. You know, I've been feeling and riding really good, so yeah, coming into this race, like I said, I like this track. It suits me well. I had a really good race last year with Liam and Grant down to the wire for the win and was able to get it. So feeling good. Conditions were similar, dry, dusty, but yeah, physical track as well, but not going to be too hot, which is good. And yeah, I got a points lead. It's close still, obviously. Some guys have had up and down races and mechanicals. I'm going to have to fight with for the title. So I know they're going to be going for broke, obviously, trying to make up as many points as they can. And yeah, I'm going to be doing the same, trying to get some wins and stay consistent on the podium.
So there you heard it from your defending champion and your winner here in 2025 at Camp Coker. And good to hear from him. We saw him battling, like you said, with Grant Davis. That was for the XC2 class when Davis was in it, battling on adjusted time. Now Davis in that XC1 class, and no surprise, leading the way.
Yeah, leading the way in XC1, leading the way in the overall right now. And as Ben Kelly pointed out, a lot of riders that, you know, project themselves should be or could be in that overall championship battle trying to get max points. And I think Grant Davis really has to be at the top of that list, you know, with a very, very rough opening 2 of the 3 rounds, scoring no points. He knows max points is the only way he's going to ride himself back in his championship battle. And just like that on screen, we see him doing just that, leading the way, leading the overall, and on his way to potentially putting himself in position to win this race, which would be 30 points on the day. And that's how you get yourself back into the fight. With a 5-point bonus for winning races, 25 points for second, 30 for a win, 25 1 for third, and then 18 for fourth. That's where the bonus points cap out. So you need to be on the podium. You need to be winning races if you're in the position where Grant Davis is sitting back in that number 10 spot, and 38 points out of the overall lead right now. So 30 today, if he could make up, 5, 9 points, something like that, that's a big chunk to getting yourself back in that fight.
Yeah, no doubt. You said 25 points there for a second. That's all Grant is going to have, sitting 10th overall in the 2026 series points. Here we go. Jordan Ashburn making his way by, and he has got a ton of pressure now from Stu Baylor.
And those two riders sitting second and third at points, just behind that man on screen right there, Ben Kelly, your points leader. And there is Liam Draper in the number 5 spot.
So what did you think? Grant's, what is it, about 25, 30 seconds?
He was 34 seconds,
34 seconds
when they checked in.
30. That's a nice little cushion. That second through fifth is a tight one right now. But
yeah, and he built that up in 1 lap, so that really shows. And if you look at the lap times, he was the only rider sub 31 minutes, with Jordan Ashburn 31:35, Stu Baylor 31:25, Ben Kelly 31:30, and Liam Draper 31:28. So all those guys in about a 5 to 10 second window of each other there, but not this guy out front, 30 seconds faster than everyone else on the racetrack on lap number 3. That is what led to that 34-second lead, and Grant Davis continuing to stretch it out front. We'll see what it is when we get a split here, but we can see how many lapped riders he has passed, that now the riders behind him are also going to have to navigate. A little conversation going on between these lapped riders, talking about just how much fun this Camp Coker Bullet racetrack is here today.
I think they're going to do a little challenge amongst themselves. Hey, whoever gets there first, the other one buys dinner.
That's right. That's right.
That's right there. Or cold beer or something.
Got to keep it fun.
That's right.
Man, how about Grant Davis, 30 seconds faster than anybody on the track?
That's an eternity for sure. And you talk about, we were just reading off the lap times there when they're all within 4 or 5 seconds of each other, and then all of a sudden you're an outlier at 30, 35 seconds faster than the best off-road riders in the world.
Not separating much there. Ashburn still barely going to be ahead of Stu Baylor as they made their way through. It looked like Ben Kelly's still going to be in the mix as well.
Yeah, and Liam Draper there as well, right on the rear wheel of Kelly. So 4 riders battling over that 2nd through 5th place spot. Ashburn still hanging on to it for now. Coming out flat tracking out into that Supercross section. There we see some Supercross. I believe that's freestyle. We got a little no footer there. Ashburn in the number 2 spot. Now here comes Cody Barnes in that number 6 spot in the XC1 and 7th place overall. Barnes has made his way around Wakowski, and there is DeLong, who's now also made his way around Wakowski and is getting a little bit closer to Barnes there. So DeLong, some struggles early. We saw that handguard bent down, was up inside the top 5, fell back to the tail end or maybe even outside the top 10, and now he is back up in the mix there, pushing Cody Barnes for that number 6 spot. There was Wakowski coming by in the number, I guess it would be 8 spot now. Yep, number 8 spot in XC1, and here comes Strang, 9th in that XC1 class.
And Johnny, we can confirm it's going to be a 6-lap race here. Going to be a 6-lap race here at round number 4. So the guy's still going to have a few more left in the tank. Of hour and 43 minutes into this approximately 3-hour long race, and we should hit it just about right at the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, I was going to say it should. I bet you're within a minute or two. These guys are going to be right at 3 hours, just as advertised.
Yep.
XC2 leader on screen, Gus Reardon on that Phoenix Racing Honda. We've seen he's had a rear view mirror full of this guy right here, Jack Walker. Look at him jumping off that what's left of that little part of the Supercross track there, and still in sight of the leader of the XC2 class ahead of him, Walker charging, trying to bring the fight to Gus Reardon and try to back up his win from earlier in the year at the Florida GNCC. And now he's looking to do it again here at Camp Coker, but he's got to go through Gus Reardon if he wants to get it done. And you know Reardon wants that win as well. A very heavy championship favorite coming into 2026, yet to record a race win here. So leading the way in that XC2 class, it is Gus Reardon.
Grant Baylor makes his way by as we continue to work on lap number 4 here, and what is going to be a 6-lap race here at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet GNCC Grant Davis has overtook the lead, and he has fired off here in this one. 30 seconds faster than anybody on the track that last time around. But as you can see, Stu Baylor, he is on the charge here in this one, needing some redemption after round number 2 there in the sands of Florida. Not able to score any points, and we expect he wants some redemption, like we said, here in this one. We're going to throw it to a break, and we'll be right back with more action on Racer TV.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to Society Hill, South Carolina. Beautiful Society Hill, South Carolina, and there it is. The number 2 machine makes his way through the woods and continuing to lead the way around here on that FMF factory KTM backed ride. Boy, looking good out there right now, Brock.
It looks effortless. It makes you jealous, kind of. The guy can ride so smooth like that, and just looks like putting in no effort to go as fast as he is. And again, we talked about that point of going to be able to turn a lap time 30 seconds quicker than his nearest 4 or 5 competitors. So that was very, very impressive. So
it sure is. Well, hey, we got a special guest coming into the booth with us. Danielle McDonald, welcome in. Ampro Yamaha's on and able to get a win here this morning in the WXC class. So you've been out there. You were out there with the over 600 riders that were out on track here earlier today. Danielle, what have you been seeing out there here for this pro race?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I went this morning. I'm really happy with it. The race looks good. It's obviously very square edgy and a lot of roots and obviously very dusty. So, yeah, you got to be really cautious with the dust and the trees. But, no, it's good.
Danielle, a quick adaptation for you to GNCC racing, obviously coming in, still relatively new, but the points leader at this point, multiple wins here in 2026. Do you feel like it's just a level of comfort that's really allowed you to kind of work to the next level here? Or what is it that's really working so well for you this year?
I mean, me and the team, we put in a big effort even last year, and then this year, I feel like, yeah, we just put in a huge effort, and I'm starting to really just get the hang of it, and no, I feel like we've done a good job. I'm feeling very comfortable on the bike at the moment, so yeah, we're just happy where we are.
Do you feel more confident coming to these tracks sometimes now for the second and even third time as opposed to coming in completely blind? Does that change things for you at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Last year I was coming in very blind. I didn't know anything like that, and then
you're good.
Oh. No, yeah, it was definitely hard coming in, and I didn't know any of the tracks, so no, I definitely know a little bit more now, and yeah, I feel a lot more confident.
You can see Danielle right now on screen, able to get the whole shot here earlier today, and not only that, was able to, great start and a great finish for you.
Little wheelie across the finish line there, a little confidence coming through Danielle. You know, it's been really impressive to see you adapt so quickly and leading the points here, obviously in a great position for this 2026 championship. And not to put the cart before the horse, but I'd have to imagine those thoughts are kind of starting to creep into your mind now as multiple race wins, leading the points. Are you starting to just think more long-term and keeping the season going and keep yourself in position to put that big #1 plate on that Pro Yamaha?
Absolutely, yeah. The championship's always been the main goal this year, and hopefully, yeah, we just keep it consistent and get more podiums and hopefully more firsts, and yeah, just build the points lead.
I bet that has to feel crazy to already be talking about that, getting your first ever WXC win there, round #1, but you're proving that it's a reality for you.
Yeah, I was honestly, I'm not even going to lie, I was pretty surprised the first round, but no, we put in a heaps, like as I said before, we put in a big effort this year and last year, and it's good to see that it's paying off.
Anything unique about this Camp Coker track that these guys are out there? We heard one of your competitors, Corey Steed, talking about she didn't want to see this track again anytime soon. What were your thoughts on the track, and what are these guys really facing out there today for this 3 hours?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite tracks. It's a lot like home back in Australia, so yeah, lots of square edgy stuff, like I said before, and it's yeah, a replica of what home is like, so yeah, it was very comfortable for me. Yeah, the guys look like they're doing good out there, and yeah, it's good.
So if you can, not to get too far down the road, but if you can put the wraps on that title, would we maybe see you give it a go in the afternoon, try to tackle that rougher track? How's that look for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Another hour on that track. I honestly actually wanted to do another lap. We came in on the 4th lap, and I couldn't believe it was done. I wanted to go back out there and give it another go.
Well, sometimes that shows the confidence, obviously, Danielle. Riding very well. We appreciate you coming in and joining us. Welcome to hang with us here and call some action with us here for the next little bit. I know you got your brother out there racing as well this afternoon. So double duty for you. When I came over to get you, you were actually doing pit stop.
Yeah. I just came off pit stop. Dylan McDonald, he's doing really good. Yeah, I was chasing him out there on the track. I was actually at this spot right now, and yeah, I'll probably go out there and chase him again.
So the family aspect of GNCC racing, we talk about it so much with youth riders, STACYC riders, but really for you guys coming over, more than just racing, a family affair. You and your brother coming over, I know, you know, some family members coming over and assisting throughout the year. You have some friends. I mean, it's got to be such a big undertaking traveling from literally the other side of the world in Australia. What was the draw for you coming from Australia? Had you known about GNCC since you were young? Was this always the goal, or did this just kind of materialize in recent years?
No, I actually didn't know what GNCC was until a few years ago. I wasn't really big into the off-road. I did a lot of motocross back home. But no, it's definitely, it was a big surprise. Yeah, the Pro Yamaha team, they called me up and asked if I wanted to come over in 24 and give it a go, and I did, and I actually enjoyed it. It was very muddy the first few rounds, but no, it was good, and yeah, we're happy to be here.
Well, that's very cool. Glad to see you and your brother here, obviously your family as well. And you're a long list of Australians who have come over here. Obviously, we just had on screen Gus Reardon leading the way in that XC2 class. I mean, going back to, you know, Josh Strang, obviously a former champion of the series. I mean, the list goes on and on. Taylor Jones, Mackenzie Tricker, you know, both former WXC race winners, and Taylor, a 3-time WXC champion. So it's interesting to see how many Australians find their way over here to GNCC, and we do see them do quite well at tracks like Camp Coker and Palatka quite often. So, like you said, if it feels like home, sometimes it gives you a little bit of extra confidence and really see some good results. But we're really glad to have you here, glad to see you having success. And like I said, hang with us, let us know what these guys are facing out there. Now, they do have a PM-only bike section, but how was, I didn't go out there and ride the track this weekend, and didn't race this morning. How was that bike-only stuff? Was it incredibly tight like it was last year?
Yeah, it was actually very tight. I feel like it was tighter this year than last. It was good. It was actually kind of flowed a lot better, I thought. No, it was good, and there was Actually, it didn't get too rough. I thought it would get a lot more rough and cut in some nice ruts, but it was pretty slick and with those pine needles on the ground.
We're not going to be dealing with any pine needles out there right now. Those girls knocked it clean off.
You got the track worn in for these guys for the afternoon. Jackson, we had some action on screen. Do we have some shakeups in our top positions?
We were following along with what we think was Wakowski and String from that Yamaha Racing live drone while you guys were talking.
So still Grant Davis out front. We can see him paused on screen there, leading the way with a healthy gap and really putting the hammer down here on lap 3 and continuing to do so on lap number 4. The track getting ever so much rougher as we wait for Grant here. Did the track you said it didn't get as rough as you had thought, Danielle, but was it definitely a big change from lap number 1 to 4? Did it kind of stay consistent throughout?
No, yeah, it definitely was a big difference, especially in those quad sections as well. Yeah, it was very square edgy and it had some pretty big kickers. And then the roots started coming through, which made it pretty difficult.
Daniel, I've got to ask, when you're having 600 riders like that, do you prepare for the lines that are going to be there, or do you just go ahead and throw that out and say, I have no clue what it's going to look like next time I come through?
Yeah, you honestly don't know what it's going to do. The lappers, they find their way around the tracks. They make new lines every lap, and it's kind of just like a waiting game to see which line pops up, and you kind of just go for it, really.
Yeah, I feel like, Johnny, you almost know this was a good line this lap, so don't take it next lap because it's going to be wore out by then.
It often can. It becomes a bigger issue in the mud races where the ruts get very deep and they change quickly lap to lap. On a track like this, it's kind of more, when you have 600 riders on the track, you kind of take the line that's open. It's not necessarily the preferred line. You take the line that's open and try to make a pass. But Grant Davis making passes on a lot of lap riders himself right now. We can see actually Wild Todd McDonald, one of your helpers out there, Danielle, looking like he's got a pit board ready for Liam Draper, sitting back in that number 5. And we are being told by OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, over a 1-minute gap now for Grant Davis. He pulled out 34 seconds on lap number 3, and now as we're coming near the close of lap number 4, looking like he's added at least another 30 seconds to that gap. So we see the lap times on screen here. This was our last lap. Grant Davis, the only rider sub 31 minutes, and you can see everybody else kind of clustered there between 31:25 and 31:41. So not a big gap between those, but with the 30:59, Grant Davis absolutely laying it down, taking the lead away from Jordan Ashburn, and able to do that in several miles less than a full lap, because it was probably the 3 or 4 mile marker before Davis was actually able to even get that lead away from Ashburn. So, man, really pushing the pace, Grant Davis, right now. And we can see, looks like some of the team members, I believe that's Siege, Cody Groves out there, Stu Baylor's mechanic, cheering on some riders. And now, here comes the battle for second, and it is Jordan Ashburn having the position. Stu Baylor up in the number 3 spot. And look at this, Liam Draper now into 4th, has gotten around Ben Kelly, and Ben Kelly back to the number 5 spot here at the 10-mile marker. But those 4 still throw a blanket over them. The racing action is hot and heavy here at Camp Coker.
Yeah, man, it sure is. Liam Draper, like we were saying, on a yo-yo effect here. As soon as you think he's starting to lose a little bit of steam, he picks it right back up as Cody Barnes continuing to pick up some speed, making his way through at the Kenda markers.
And Craig DeLong as well, just when you think that maybe it's just between those 4 riders, we know that Barnes and also DeLong not so far back at all, so they are still hanging on to hope that maybe with a good lap or a miscue of some of the riders in front of them, they may be able to get themselves back into a position to battle for a podium. How bad was the dust out there today, Danielle? Was it pretty bad?
It honestly surprised me a lot. It wasn't too bad as what I thought it was going to be. I think, yeah, it's starting to get pretty bad now that what it looks like, yeah. But no, it wasn't too bad. There was still a little bit of moisture in the dirt, so it was good for our race.
Well, visibility has been an obvious obstacle in some of these camera shots, but like you pointed out, I think there was some rain a few weeks ago, and you could see good moisture in that little section of racetrack right there, but some of the sections where it's kind of mixed with clay, seems like that white dust just kind of hangs without the wind here today. So definitely another challenge, as if we needed it here on this very rough, very challenging, very technical Camp Coker racetrack, and it's led to some great racing action. Here we see your fellow countrymen, and also on the ISDE team with you a number of times, Gus Reardon there leading the way, looking like he has now opened up just a little bit of a gap over Beta's Jack Walker there in the number 2 spot, but Walker is really pushing hard, not wanting to let Reardon get away. That's been a battle that's really been raging all day long. Danielle, you said you get out there, you're chasing your brother, you're watching different sections of the racetrack. It's a long day, but how exciting is it just to kind of be a part of all things GNCC, from chasing to pitting to racing? It's just a full day of action.
It absolutely is. I know I love it. It's we're always out there and really kind of getting in the mix and seeing what everyone's doing and how they're riding, and you actually get to see some stuff that's not even on the camera or on the TV, so it's pretty cool.
Ooh, boys, we got a battle for second. Boys and girls, I should say.
Well, what you can see from Racer TV is passes from the Yamaha Racing Live drone, and Stu Baylor has made the pass on Jordan Ashburn for the number 2 spot. So Baylor back outside the top 5, charging his way up into 5th, then 4th, then 3rd, and now has gotten around Jordan Ashburn into the number 2 spot. We know the gap about a minute to Grant Davis, but Stu Baylor showing the pace right now that he is going to try to make a run, maybe at Davis out front, but right now definitely taking over the number 2 spot. An impressive charge from the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki of Stu Baylor as we get now ever so close to the end of lap number 4 in what we should see a 2-lap board in the hands of Ricky Towery.
So there it is, right at 2 hours into this one. 3 laps complete so far, working on 4 and getting to the closing stages of it.
Liam Draper starting to charge now there as well, trying to get closer to the rear wheel of Ashburn to put himself in position to potentially take over the final podium spot. But Ashburn not giving up easy, looking like he's now closing the gap back to Baylor. So just when you think Stu Baylor's made the pass and is going to make it stick, Ashburn trying to fire back.
Seeing some great things today from Ashburn. Not quite, I'm sure, where he wants to be now, falling back just a bit, but like you said, Johnny, he's not out of this one. He's not giving up easy.
Man, I wish the camera could do justice to just how rough some of this stuff gets. You were talking about it earlier, Jackson. You know, you see those ruts, and it's like, oh, that doesn't look so bad, but then you actually go out there and ride those sections, and now we see there is Baylor, the second bike in shot there, and Ashburn with a little different line. Baylor opting for that left side. Ashburn going to come out right on the rear wheel, cross him up. Going to try to get a run around the outside and square him up.
To the inside is Ashburn. He's hugging those inside lines. Stu Baylor blocking him off, though. That was a great line by Stu Baylor.
Oh,
to the
Ashburn
outside.
Around the outside, and he's going to make the pass. Nope.
Going to cut back in right here. Oh, not quite able to. Johnny, you talked about how hard it was to switch in those pine tree rows, and that's exactly what Stu Baylor had to do there for that lap rider, and it cost him big time.
Yeah, almost giving that position back. And look at this. Ashburn around the outside makes the pass back for the number 2 spot.
I believe that was a lap rider right there.
Oh, what?
I believe so. I believe Stu's going to be right there.
Color blindness again. Can't see a green fender.
Oh, no, he did. He had to close the door on that lap rider. He was not wasting any time. This is what we talk about a lot, too. You have to be right there so that you can gain that position from the lap rider as well. They know Stu's coming. They can hear Stu, but they don't realize Ashburn is just a few bike lengths back.
And this is shaking things up, too. We saw Liam Draper was in the fight, those lap riders. Now he is a little bit further back. That's your teammate there, Danielle, getting himself up in position to battle for a podium here today. But, man, this the lap riders really becoming a factor here in this one, and there's only maybe a third of the riders that were out there when you were out there a few hours ago.
Yeah, the lappers are pretty crazy in the morning race. No, it's definitely hard to make some passes. It was actually pretty good in these field sections. We made some pretty good passes.
We talk about it a lot. Do you feel like you have more of an advantage with the lap riders being up front or being a few bikes back?
I feel like being a few bikes back, it's you let the lead riders kind of let the lap riders know that they're there and the leaders are coming through. Then you kind of get an easier pass, but it was definitely a challenge this weekend trying to get around the lappers. They didn't realize that the leaders were coming through.
Yeah, that makes a good point. That's something we talk about a lot. Once one gets through, then they're aware that they are being lapped and more is to come.
All right, there we see Ashburn on screen in the number 3 spot, just behind him. Draper on the 198 in the number 4 spot and just ahead of them on track. Stu Baylor has made the pass on Ashburn, but Ashburn hanging tough. We can still see him in the same corner, looking up, taking a look over. And this is really the final section of racetrack here before they will be coming through the finish line chicanes and completing. Yeah, Baylor actually a little further ahead. So he has opened up the gap quite a bit. That was another lap rider there. So Baylor, wow, really using this last section of racetrack to open up the gap over Jordan Ashburn and secure himself into that number 2 spot. But look at the silt just kicking up. Man, air filters definitely could be a consideration here today. I've seen so much more silt popping up throughout this race, especially when you start charging like Stu Baylor is and kind of bearing the bike into the berms. Just look at that. That's a cool line there. Jumping to the outside of the track to square himself up to get to some clean running room and smooth track on the inside of the next corner. Baylor is on rails right now, definitely setting a pace, trying to close the gap on Grant Davis ahead of him.
Going to be interesting to see what the lap times are going to be this time through, as
they start to check in for 5 laps complete now.
So Grant Davis has checked in with a 31.33, so slowing down about 30 seconds from that sub 31-minute lap time that he had just a few laps ago. And now as Baylor checks in the number 2 spot, we see a lap time of 32.13. So, man, about 41 seconds slower.
Need to correct myself there. 4 laps complete. Grant Davis had already made it through the finish line there. So, yeah, 4 laps complete here in this one. 2 more to go. Ricky Towery letting the riders know as they make their way through.
Here we see the battle now for 4th. Jordan Ashburn hanging on to that position after giving up 3rd to Stu Baylor just about a mile ago. And now Draper starting to show some sense of urgency, pushing the pace, trying to get close enough to Ashburn to make a move. And there we see going the other way is Stu Baylor in the number 2 spot. He's opened up a good amount of real estate between himself and this battle over the number 3 spot.
Seeing the Ampro Yamaha putting on another charge here as he tries to pick up this spot from Jordan Ashburn.
Yep, 2nd at our last round, Liam Draper. A little bit of momentum coming into this weekend, looking to keep it going, put himself in position to gain another podium here today. But he is going to have to get around Jordan Ashburn if he wants to do that. Ashburn stingy with those passes and has been riding very, very well here today on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Now it looks like he's opened up a little bit of a gap. We see Stu Baylor, a little hydration and also a little water splash down the back as he comes into the pro pits. Don't expect to see any extended pit stops from these guys. Maybe just some hydration, and on their way, Baylor charges off. Get a little update on how things are running here in terms of the points as we watch this battle for 3rd on screen. Here is the points as they run. Ben Kelly with 81 points and Stu Baylor with 73. So only 8 points would be the lead for Ben Kelly if they finish as they're running right now, with Kelly sitting back in that number 5 spot. Somewhere just behind this battle we're watching on screen between Jordan and Ashburn and Liam Draper over the number 3 and 4 spots.
You mentioned Liam Draper 2nd at our last race. He was also 2nd here at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet in 2025 as we see the number 2 machine of Grant Davis making his way through. But yeah, Liam Draper 2nd here last year. And Johnny, if you remember, it went all the way down to the very bitter end there for Liam Draper. He fought hard here last year, used up everything in the tank. I'm sure that's going to be what we see from multiple riders here today.
And we're actually told the points being updated, they were still counting Ben Kelly as in 4th. Now that he's in 5th place spot, it would actually be a 6-point gap, so even closer on that one there. Ben Kelly with 79 points as they run on track, and Stu Baylor, if he finishes in that number 2 spot, would have 73. So the championship battle tightening up. Jordan Ashburn would be in the mix there somewhere as well, just behind. But look at this. This is the battle over those points, and Liam Draper trying to take another couple points away from Jordan Ashburn if he's able to make the pass and mix himself up in the championship battle, coming fresh off a podium just 3 weeks ago at Talladega, looking to do it again here today, and really, really ringing out that Ampro Yamaha 450, trying to make the pass on Jordan Ashburn for the number 3 spot. Look at this, 2 lines through this whole section, and when they come out, it is still Ashburn holding on to the spot.
This one's getting close. Liam Draper slicing and dicing through different lines, trying to find a way around. Back ahead now to Stu Baylor. And now we're about to see this battle continue on here between Ashburn and Draper. Here they are. And it's inching up closer here to Baylor as well, continuing to push that pace.
Yeah, as those two push each other, it's likely one of 2 things can happen. They can either get themselves locked in a battle, start worrying so much about blocking the other rider, as we now see our 5th place rider, Ben Kelly. He's definitely given up some ground here in these last few miles. The pace that Draper and Ashburn are setting is drawing them back to the rear wheel of Baylor and away from Ben Kelly. But look at this, talking about points. Cody Barnes trying to get up in the mix from that number 6 spot, starting to get closer to Ben Kelly now. And there is Craig DeLong as well. So Kelly.
Look at this.
Yeah, Draper has made the pass. Now, new 3rd place rider, Liam Draper, has taken over the number 3 spot. Danielle, watching this racing action, was there as many lines for you guys in the morning race, and did you get to do any wheel-to-wheel battling through these lines like this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was lines left, right, and center, and a lot of wheel bashing out there. But no, it looks like there's even more lines popping up, and it looks like a really good battle happening right now.
Go ahead, Jackson.
You got any insider information about how Liam Draper is feeling here today?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to him before. He looked pretty confident, and I think this is one of the more favorite tracks for him. I feel like he is definitely confident and ready, and yeah, he's been riding well all year long.
Yeah, after the race he had here last year, I'm sure he does carry some confidence into this one. We're seeing it right now out on the track as he's slowly but surely starting to inch away now from Jordan Ashburn. Ashburn, the rider that we're following along here with the Yamaha Racing Live drone.
Yeah, the battle continues, and if Draper continues to push the pace, it may draw him closer to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor. Looking like now he has a little bit bigger of a gap even than just a couple corners ago, dropping Ashburn back to 4th. Still a solid ride here for Ashburn after leading much of this one early on before getting passed by Grant Davis, assuming that lead from his teammate Mike Wakowski, who's running back a little bit closer to the tail end of the top 10. Now you see the lap times on screen, and again, the only rider, this time sub 32, is Grant Davis with that 31:33. Everyone else in the 32-second range, or 32-minute range. So a big gap there for Grant Davis, just really absolutely pushing the pace, and that explains why he has a more than 1 minute lead now. It was actually 1 minute 20 seconds when they completed lap number 4, and the 2-lap card was being held out by Ricky Towery.
Cody Barnes back there in the 6th place for the XC1 class, going to be the 2nd fastest behind of Grant Davis as far as the lap times are concerned. But man, Grant Davis almost 40 seconds faster than Stu Baylor that last time around. That is no easy feat.
Yeah, Stu Baylor did have to come through some other riders to get to that position, but still, Grant Davis right now is just kind of putting on a display out there of just what this young man is capable of. New machine for, I believe, his first ever GNCC on a 450 machine, and making it look like it's the right choice here today as he's leading the way and continuing to widen the gap.
Yeah, if the gap keeps growing like that, that is going to be a hard one to close up for any of the rest of the crew here in this one, as now we see him making his way through. Grant Davis checking in here at the mile 3 marker.
We'll wait and we'll watch around about 1 minute and 20 seconds until we see our 2nd place rider, Stu Baylor. Will Liam Draper be able to continue to close that gap? Will Jordan Ashburn fire back? Will Ben Kelly start reacting to the push that these guys have pushed in? Cody Barnes back there, and let's not throw Craig DeLong out of this one yet. So the top 7 in XC1, Grant Davis with a healthy lead, but the rest, 2nd through 7th, all still embattled in that mix. They're trying to sort out those final podium positions and who's going to have to be left off that podium, which that's such a rough feeling. You know, you go out there, you battle all day long, you're in a podium spot or so close. When you come up short, it's a lot of these guys, I think different people have different expectations, but at the end of the day, if you fight that hard and you're on the podium, as much as you may not be happy, if you don't win, it's better to be standing on the podium and have an opportunity to thank the sponsors than to be 4th, 5th, 6th, just off the podium. A lot of times people say, well, but you're only a couple seconds off the podium. You want to just look at them and say, you don't get it. That almost makes it worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, man, this has been a good one so far. You can see Ricky Towery continuing to hold up that 2-lap card.
That was an interesting line there.
Yeah, it was. 2 more laps left to go, just under it, for our leaders here in the XC1 class. So far, it has been all about the number 2 machine of Grant Davis here today. He's got the big 450 machine, and it is barking. The FMF power is being laid down out there right now. You can see Andy handing him some hydration, making sure that he stays fueled up to continue this FMF Camp Coker Bullet here for round number 4. We'll be right back with more on Racer TV.
Don't let waiting in line for service sideline your machine. Eliminate the wait and save money by doing it yourself. AMSOIL makes it simple, with oil change kits that include exactly what you need in one convenient package. Choosing the right kit is also simple. Just plug your ride into the Shop by Vehicle tool at AMSOIL.com and have your kit delivered right to your door. Get the protection you demand and the performance you deserve. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
born of family values and a homegrown work ethic. Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Welcome back here to the Maury Sportsman Preserve in South Carolina. Things are continuing to heat up out on the track and in the pits as well. We want to remind you that with Progressive Insurance, you can scan our QR code right here and save money on all your insurance needs, including the campers. And of course, here at GNCC, that is going to be the primary way of camping. So of course, you want to keep it protected. So check out Progressive. Progressive also going to come on board with us for the EMTB series, and they are now offering it for EMTBs as well. So plenty of stuff to check out there with Progressive Insurance.
Yeah, you know, Progressive saying save money on all your insurance needed, and they do truly mean all your insurance needs, whether it's your motorcycle, your truck, your camper. Obviously, when you look at the pits here in the GNCC, it looks a lot like an RV park. We see a lot of expensive RVs. Want to make sure you got those insured, whether it's going down the road or any other challenges you may face. And Progressive, a great supporter here of GNCC racing, and we love having them out, and they're even coming on board with us in a bigger way. Gotta love that.
Yeah, sure is. They're going to be the title sponsor of the EMTB when they come to play in Tennessee. And like I said, they're going to offer protection for the EMTBs as well. So that comes in very handy for the GNCC racers here. That's the primary mode of transportation is going to be on those specialized EMTB machines. So might as well get it protected.
Yeah, you can't throw a rock at a GNCC without hitting a bike rack full of dozens of e-bikes. It's the, like you said, the preferred method of transportation. Big facilities here, especially this weekend at Maury Sportsman Preserve. We saw those shots. I mean, there's ponds all over the property, people going out fishing, checking out the track, helping their rider, whether it be taking hydration, pit boards, and those e-bikes, just really making sure that everybody can get around in a quick way, and Progressive making sure that you get them home safe.
Jackson, do you think that was a shameless plug so they could put up that picture of you again catching that big old fish?
The lunker. What I say was 121 inches, 121 pounds or something like that.
It must have been.
That's how the fishing stories go. Every time
That's my big fish story.
Just a little bit.
I'm sticking to it. You can't prove it wasn't, because I threw him back, and he's there waiting for the next. He's probably been caught 3 or 4 times since then. That was on Friday.
You know why fish aren't good at basketball, don't you?
Why is that?
They're scared of the net.
There's your dad joke.
Wow, Jack, you are not near old enough to be telling dad jokes like that, but we appreciate the humor.
Stop by the fishing tournament if you want to hear about 50 more. We got them on repeat.
Did you Google that one?
Maybe. ChatGPT might help with a few of them.
Yeah, we got Jackson voice on the AI now. He just puts it on.
There you go, Brian. We think we're up. We think we're up with the times because we're talking about Google, and Jackson's letting us know. You mean ChatGPT, dude? What are you, 50? Almost.
No, he's just got an AI-generated reel here. So.
All right, that is not AI generated. That looked to be Grant Davis out front here at the 7-mile marker, leading the way. 1 minute 20 seconds when they completed lap number 4. He's working his way now towards about halfway through lap number 5, and the pace that he's showing on screen leads me to believe that we are going to see that gap either stabilized or potentially even continue to stretch out here in that battle with Stu Baylor in the number 2 spot. And it looks like we're still waiting, watching, seeing some of our B riders now working their way through. Man, the track just continuing to get rougher and rougher, Brock. The hole's getting deeper. As the sand gets displaced, those ledges just keep getting, and to your point, Brock, the track really cut down in after the ATV race yesterday, they go out with those mini dozers, those 50-inch wide bulldozers, and they push the sand back into the middle, or dirt at our other rounds. They push whatever material it is back in, try to put the track back. They track it in, but it's so soft from being pushed, it just gets chewed out very quickly. But then they'll reclaim the whole track again when we're done. So when we come back next year, it's had a whole full year to heal up and grow back.
Well, you can see right here what the original surface was between the two trees on the left of the screen there, and that's the original level. And you look down to where it's dug down
it's
to.
That MX-14, just moving all that material.
Reminds me of the olden days at Carlsbad, the uphill and downhill at Carlsbad. That thing got, by the time you were done, look at there, it gets Dewey coming through there. Pushing the pace, right?
Number 2 spot. See what kind of a gap he has over. Well, we don't have to wait long.
Look at
there is Liam Draper. He can now see Stu Baylor ahead of him. And how has Jordan Ashburn fared? That gap has opened up.
Yeah, Liam's been pushing it hard lately, and we were kind of kidding around last night when we were texting back and forth about watching Cole Davies, but man, Liam's just starting to really run hard.
Ben Kelly now up to the rear wheel of Ashburn, so that is the battle for 4th and 5th. You're watching on screen. Ashburn 4th, Kelly 5th, and we did see Cody Barnes starting to peek his way in there. Looks like now he's lost some ground, sitting in that number 6 spot. Oh, look at this. DeLong has now caught Barnes, so that is 6th and 7th. The battle on screen. DeLong been charging these last several laps, and one of the folks at home, Kenny Schick, one of the XC2 ATV riders, pointing out, we said that we had said on camera, I had said, and I believe our graphic had shown that Grant Davis with that 31.33 was the only rider sub 32 actually looking down at that number 8 spot. Craig DeLong with a 31.57. So showing that 31.57, so look at that. We've got Craig DeLong really on the charge, also sub 32 minutes that last lap of racing. Jackson, I think we got an update.
Yeah, OPAG and our replay artist Cameron Cotter saying that about 1 minute and 20 seconds is going to be, just over 1 minute and 20 seconds is going to be the new gap.
There we go. So it was 1:20 at the 2-lap board, and it has kind of stabilized there. Grant Davis likely realizing, getting pit boards, getting information that he has a pretty sizable lead. Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor, and looking like he just doesn't have the same sense of urgency, but he has stabilized that gap right around that minute 20. Speaking of stabilizing the gap, let's see what Angus Reardon has been able to do there. He is in the number 1 spot, and it looks like he has now shaken Jack Walker. Jack's been kind of stalking him back there in that number 2 spot, and when they checked in last lap, it looks like Jack Walker was about 19 seconds back, and on screen it looks like that gap may have grown even further now here at the 7-mile marker.
Well, as we coined him, Jumpin' Jack, right? Because we saw him do a little Supercross action. So it seems to me Davis maybe do a little another Supercross analogy or a motocross analogy at Jet Lawrence, where he just manages that lead, gets out front, pushes as hard as he needs to, and then backs it down 1% or 2, and then
man, still no Jack Walker there.
Yeah, we're over the 30-second point now.
We might need to start looking. Looks like the 3rd place rider in that class was, let's see, Jason Tino was 2 minutes and 9 seconds back. But no, here comes Walker still in the number 2 spot, even though he has given up a big chunk of time now.
Somewhere probably around 45 seconds is what that new gap is going to be. So in that 21-45.
There you go. So 45 seconds, the gap, give or take, back to the number 2 spot in XC2. Gus Reardon now starting to march away with this one. Jason Tino, we are being told by OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, his birthday today. So what better way to celebrate your birthday than putting yourself on the XC2 podium here, sitting in that number 3 spot and 13th overall with 4 laps complete, and approaching what will be a white flag waving here in just about another 5 miles of racing.
Should be seeing the birthday boy hop skipping his way through the mile 7 marker here any second.
We do still see, got to give some love to those overall amateurs. Hunter Smith out of that 258 class still leading the way in 258 and now up to 17th place overall. But Caleb Wood has dropped back a little bit. Now it's Lane Whitmer on the charge up into the number 19th spot overall and looking about 19 seconds, 18.9 seconds behind Hunter Smith in that battle for the win in XC2. Tino was about 2 minutes and 9 seconds behind Walker when they checked in, so it is still going to be a little bit until we see him here. But if he can put in a charge with Walker starting to lose the pace out front of Reardon, man, 2 minutes though in basically a lap and a half, that's a lot of time to make up. But this course is very rough, man. Fitness is definitely going to be a big factor late in this one for sure.
We'll see right now because we're about 129, so we'll see if it's Yeah, just looking at my watch. Well,
Thad Duvall sitting in that 15th spot overall and just outside the top 10 in that XC1 class.
Here we go. Jason Tino now going to make his way through.
Passing that left rider. And
it's made up a little bit.
Yeah.
145 it looks like.
145. So that's about 16 plus 9, about 25 seconds he's made up on Jack Walker in just 7 miles. So not out of the question, but he's going to need to keep that pace up and hope that he gets a little luck if he wants to try to catch Jack Walker with still 1 minute and 44 seconds between those two. That is your top 3 in XC2 here at the 7 mile marker.
It's been a good one so far as we continue to watch here from this mile 7 marker. We talked about Smith there a little bit on that 950 machine, sitting at 17th overall. It's not a rider that I'm familiar with, but if he can continue to do stuff like that, we'll be very familiar with him here soon.
Absolutely. Leading the top amateur in that 17th spot overall and leading 250A. Lane Whitmer already putting in some impressive rides here in 2026, and Hunter Smith saying that Cam Coker at the time, he wants to join the party, and doing a great job of it so far, but he does not have a big gap there, as now we see that looks to be, is that DeFeo? Yep. That is your points leader in XC2 with 2 wins on the season, sitting back in that 4th place spot. Looks like he's gotten around Brody Johnson, unless I missed Brody Johnson coming through here.
I didn't see Johnson myself either, so it does look like he's been able to pick up a spot. We'll keep our eyes out here at the mile 7.
Well, he was 38 seconds behind Johnson when they checked in, well, so
maybe we did.
And it's possible we missed Johnson, but we'll keep an eye here and see. This looks like Ryder Lafferty coming through on the 336. So DeFeo trying to get some valuable points here today to potentially cling to that lead in the XC2 championship battle. And that is the 206 of Josh Toth. You can see laboring a bit there again. His leg break, well publicized last year. He put those x-rays up, and man, that one was ugly. And just to see him on a dirt bike out there competing, and not currently, well, actually still, yeah, inside the top 20 in 18th spot in the overall. So although he's laboring, he's holding tough and looking to gain some points here today.
Sure is. Continuing to watch here at the mile 7 marker. Man, seeing some big gaps all the way through here in this one.
A little refresh on your screen over there. Give us a lead here. Or is it...
There's the 950 machine of Smith making his way through.
Yeah, there we go. So that is your overall amateur leader, leading the 258 class, and 17th overall, Hunter Smith on a charge. 18 seconds back was Lane Whitmer when they checked in. We'll see what it is here at the 7 mile marker, but it looks like Hunter Smith is holding a pace right now. Lane not able to make any significant inroads to that lead. We'll flash ahead here now to the 10 mile marker, where we'll wait for the big number 2 of Grant Davis on that FMF KTM 450. He's out front leading the way and still charging about a 1 minute and 20 second gap here. Stu Baylor, the rider that we will be waiting on next. Looks like that might be Caleb Russell there to the right of the screen. Sitting out this weekend, still rehabbing that knee from his crash in Florida, opting to sit this one out, trying to get a little stronger. Talking about potentially coming back at our next round here in Kentucky in about another 3 weeks' time. There you go, Brock. How about that tree?
I can't imagine why in that berm it's a little firm at the base of it there. We got it pushed all the way up against a tree. Little pine bark. Yeah, got some good traction off of that. That's a great shot there.
We saw that get developed yesterday by those ATVs, but it has definitely had that tree covered up, so that is new. They have definitely ate down into that one. And that'll catch you off guard, won't it?
It would for sure. Coming through there, and maybe your goggles a little dirty, a little dust in your eyes, a little sun setting, and some rays going through the trees. The visibility probably is not real good against that tree.
No, we don't talk about it a whole lot, but that can definitely play some tricks on you going through those shadows like that.
Yeah, the shadows, especially with the dust, and then when the sunlight's coming in just right, it can make it incredibly difficult to pick your line. You just kind of go where you think there's an opening, and sometimes it can get you in trouble. And as Brock was pointing out there, sometimes you don't expect there to be a big tree trunk in the middle of a berm, but bouncing off of that tree trunk is the rear wheel of Stu Baylor. Full charge mode for Baylor, and you want to know why? Well, he's got a rear view mirror full of the 198 Ampro Yamaha Liam Draper. Draper not letting Baylor off easy. He is charging, wanting that second place position, and he's got about a lap and 3 miles left to get it done. But Baylor, not a rider that's ever going to give up without a fight. those two both headstrong, and I think we're going to see this one potentially a battle right down to the finish line.
Yeah, my unofficial, official, semi-accurate Timex Ironman watch showed about 128, that gap between Davis and then Stu, but Stu doesn't have a blink of an eye before Liam's right behind him. And then look at this, got a great battle here for 4th and 5th. Jordan Ashburn holding off Ben Kelly at the moment.
Yeah. There you go. So Ben Kelly trying to get around Jordan Ashburn and wrestle away that number 4 spot, which we know would be valuable championship points for him. But hey, Jordan Ashburn wants those points himself, and this battle still raging as well. Cody Barnes hanging on to that number 6 spot, 7th in the overall, and Craig DeLong just behind him. That's been going for almost a lap now. So far, DeLong not able to make that pass. Brock, you're motioning at the camera here.
The visibility, I mean, you can see right there, even through, this is a long lens, so maybe it condenses the dust a bit, but when you're going in and out of the shadows like that, especially the older you get, your eyes just can't adjust fast enough, and it's really difficult conditions. And just one rider, you see it stirring up the dust right here.
And there you see the sunlight as it plays into it as well. Grant Davis making some passes on some lapped riders, a little crossed up there, but not losing much time. 1 minute, 28 seconds, according to the unofficial Timex watch of the Golden Boy, Brock Glover. We got the splits here. We're high tech. And, Brock, we were watching some old moto the last couple weeks from the 90s where they used to have the physical stopwatch on the screen there. So we're back to those days and making sure everybody at home has the...
But wait, this is an Ironman edition, so it comes into play in GNCC and Moto. Okay.
In October, it'll be extra accurate.
Yeah. Well, also at the end of the Moto season too there. So, yeah, we used to look back and even at the start of the race when they used to do a 2 minute, 1 minute board. It seemed for eternity, but I would literally, there's a couple pictures of me staring over my shoulder. People were like, "What are you doing?" I'm literally looking at the stopwatch of my mechanic, because I didn't want to start my bike too early because I rode an air hammer, air-cooled bike, and I wanted to keep it cool for the most horsepower. And I used to sit there and wait till it was down into the maybe 40-second, 45-second mark before I ever started my bike.
Well, you had to start them semi-early because sometimes it'd take a few kicks depending on the day.
Exactly.
Especially those big 490s.
They were tough. So
good old days.
Yeah, you can see, though, it's right here. It's a challenge coming in and out of there. You've got Grant coming along. No, that's Stu with Liam. Man, he is pushing it for sure. Wow.
Minute 28 still is the gap, according to our producer, Adam Gordon. But Liam Draper running some different lines, trying to find running room, trying to find an opening to try to make the pass on Stu Baylor. But Stu Baylor hitting his lines, hitting his marks, and not giving an inch.
And dragging his feet for the extra dust factor.
Not needing to drag his feet. Grant Davis is in a hurry, continuing to lead by 1 minute, 28 seconds. But the battle on the track right now is the battle on screen over the second place position. Stu Baylor has it. Liam Draper wants it. They're out in the fields here of Camp Coker. A 2-line pine section coming up, looking like they are both choosing the same line.
The way that they run, only 2 points separating these two.
And you look at Liam, too. I mean, he's going outside, inside. A couple of lines where you really can't change up too much from Stu there. But at one point, he was literally, going outside, inside just so he could see. I mean, it was a little bit dusty through there.
I take that back. 2 points separate them going into this race. We've been talking so much, I assume that's what they meant, but it's 2 points going into this one. So this is going to be a battle for the points lead between these two guys, at least for their spots, I should say. Stu Baylor sitting in 3rd and Liam Draper in 4th coming into this one.
Valuable championship points on the line approaching the end of this one. Second place pays 25 points, so the point swing would be 4 points between these two if they flip-flop. Right now, Stu Baylor would gain another 4 points on Liam Draper. If Liam Draper is able to make the pass, he would actually, you said there was only 2 points between them, right? Was it 2?
48, 46.
So there you go. So if Liam Draper makes the pass, he also makes the pass on Stu Baylor, which would move him potentially, looking where Ashburn's at there with 48, Draper with 45, yes. So that would bump Liam Draper up to the number 2 spot in points if he's able to make this pass for second on track. So, man, that is really a big move for Liam Draper, especially with Ben Kelly back there trying to make the pass on Jordan Ashburn. Man, that's some valuable points. But look at this now, Stu Baylor opening it up a bit through that section.
Yeah, that's why I was really noticing Stu being the lead dog here, stirring up the dust. The visibility probably was a little tough for Liam, but Stu was able to open up quite a few bike lengths in a couple of 2 or 3 second gap here in that dustier open section.
Yeah, Stu, the top rider that I believe he probably is using that to his
to his benefit and kicking up as much dust as he possibly can just to try to take the wind out of the sails of Liam Draper. And I'm sure most of the people at home, as we see the number 3 Ashburn making his way by, they've been in scenarios where they're eating some dust, and you know just how tough it can get, especially these long endurance races. Ben Kelly not giving up on Ashburn, though. He's eating the dust and continuing to as he tries to chase down the number 3 machine.
Yeah, but Ashburn has really weathered that storm. It looked like Ben Kelly was right on the rear wheel. And look at this, as Craig DeLong made the pass on Cody Barnes possibly, and up to the number 6 spot. Here we go, back to Baylor in the number 2 spot, just behind him Draper on the 198 machine. That's the battle over second. Just about a minute and 28 seconds ahead is Grant Davis leading the way, but opening up the big Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki is Stu Baylor in that number 2 spot, trying to find some smooth ground, squaring up down to the inside, making the racetrack as short as he possibly can, and trying to open up that gap. He's had pressure from Draper for almost the whole way here on lap number 5. Grant Davis has checked in now. Baylor taking a look over his shoulder to see where Draper's at. 31.36 for Grant Davis, so consistency, the word of the day. 31.33 last lap, 31.36 this lap. So Grant Davis absolutely on rails right now. A few more corners and we'll see what the lap time is for Stu Baylor on that 5:14 machine.
Making his way through what I've been calling the Talladega corner.
Don't want to get too high there. You just throw one of your fishing jokes in there again.
And now that gap really starting to open up.
Opened up, yeah. I just think visibility has to be pretty difficult right here. I'm sure Stu's trying to put the hammer down through that section, knowing that, because Stu is the type of rider who would completely understand that the visibility is bad, and the faster you can go, the bigger gap you can gain. But he's definitely opened up a bunch.
Checking in now. We'll check and see what that gap is going to be.
1 minute 27. So about 7 seconds faster that lap for Grant Davis. A 31.36 for Davis and a 31.43 for Stu Baylor. Draper now checking with a 31.39, so only 3 seconds slower than Grant Davis, so about 4 seconds faster than Stu Baylor. And we've actually seen him closer just about a half a mile ago. So Draper putting in a very good lap there on lap number 5.
Johnny, how much has Baylor been able to open up on Draper here?
I think it's about 7. What is it, 7 or 8?
Yeah, it looks like it was 7.2 seconds.
And at one point they were 1 second.
Yeah, at one point they were one knobby of a tire.
Yeah, they were. Stu's putting the pedal down right now, or twisting the grip off, that's for sure. He's very quick.
Well, when you see that white flag, you know as deep as you've gone, there's just one more lap, and you surely don't want to give up any positions. With that pressure he was feeling from Draper, we know Stu Baylor all heart. This guy leaves everything on the racetrack every time he goes out there, and we're seeing that again here today at Camp Coker.
They call him Baylor Heavy for a reason. Heavy on the gas. He's hard on these machines, and you can see it for yourself right now. One thing I love about Stu Baylor is we see Liam Draper passing by. You can always tell when he's hard on that throttle. He lets that right arm drop, and you can see just how much effort he's putting into twisting that grip.
As riders continue to check in, need to clarify, Cody Barnes still in that number 6 spot. He has about 4 seconds over Craig DeLong, so we must have missed Cody Barnes in that camera shot there. We did not see him come through, but he is still holding on to that number 6 spot, just behind the battle between Jordan Ashburn and Ben Kelly over 4th and 5th. He is about 10 seconds behind Ben Kelly. Leader on screen, Grant Davis leading the way. 1 minute 27 seconds here on the final lap of racing. 1 mile down and about 12 more to go around this very, very rough Camp Coker racetrack. Grant Davis has this one well in hand, but Stu Baylor continuing to give chase with heavy pressure from behind from the Empro Yamaha of Liam Draper.
You are not going to give him the announcer's curse there, having it well in hand. This is GNCC racing. It's 3 hours long.
Well, look at this.
Were you not at Talladega?
Well, yes. No, I know. But look at this. Draper now has definitely closed the gap back up. So we were speaking about how much the dust may have been a factor there. Now that there is no dust, Draper definitely closing that gap back down. So Draper having the pace right now. Baylor able to open that gap up. Now Draper has closed it back down. That is not 7 seconds. That's about 10 bike lengths.
No, that's exactly what we were talking about. I think those open fast sections, Stu's a little bit quicker, but it has some of the visibility has to be a factor there. And Liam is now closed back up. He's quite quick where you can see the dust just watching through this little moisture with darker dirt. His visibility's got to be a lot better.
Little update on our XC2 while we wait for some more of our XC1 riders to come through. Now Gus Rudin has checked in the number 1 spot, but look at this. Jack Walker on a charge, only 19 seconds behind what was 45 seconds at the 7-mile marker. So Jack Walker on a charge. It has made up about 26 seconds and is now getting ever so closer to the rear wheel. There we see Draper really thread the needle between those trees, trying to hang with Stu Baylor and put himself into position to battle for that number 2 spot.
There could be some fireworks in that XC2 class, that's for sure, with Walker making up some ground here in this one. Final lap going down. If he can do that one more time, do the dance one more time the way he did it this past time, he'll be in good shape going into that checkered flag.
You want to talk about some close racing. We see Gus Reardon there in the number 7 spot. Jack Walker all the way down in 12th. Oh, actually just moves up to 11th as Grant Baylor does check in there. But Jack Walker, so 3 XC1 riders between in that 19-second gap on corrected time. Shows you just how close the racing action is here today.
It sure does. That amazing to see. See those pine needles we were talking about a little bit earlier with Danielle McDonald in that shot?
Those are so slick.
Yes, like skating on ice out there with no skates.
Brock, we need to get...
Uh-oh, sounds like one of our cameras picking up Josh Toth having a little bit of trouble. Could see the back of the jersey being told by OPAG. Could see that it was Toth. So it looks like some trouble's happening for him.
Sitting in that 18th spot overall, it's important for him to try to get going as quickly as possible. Now we see Grant Baylor in. Looks like an air filter change in the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Red Bear Kawasaki pits, and Baylor is out and underway, sitting in that 12th place spot overall, just behind Jack Walker from that XC2 class.
I was actually wondering that earlier with Liam chasing Stu so long, so much, and you could see in and out of the dust. He was trying to cross over when he could, but it's not always possible. And you wonder how much dust over 3 hours he's going to eat in that thing, and the performance of the bike starts slacking down, and you don't want to have to put a new filter in.
Yamaha's the only bike that has those filters up front above the gas tank. The motor actually sits backwards in those. The pipe goes all the way around the motor, makes a full 360 around, and then the air filter right up front where the gas tank would normally be. So they can change it if they need to. It's not the hardest thing in the world to change one of those, but nonetheless, they don't want to.
Yeah, usually, I mean, when I'm riding, I ride a little of everything, but 450 Yamaha is kind of my common track bike that I ride, and it's the easiest air filter ever to change, but you don't need to do that when you're 3 seconds, 4 seconds out of second place.
We talk about bike breathing in the air filters, but we talked about Draper and the vision. That could also be another reason. When you're 2 hours and 40 minutes into one of these races, he very well might be tired of having to breathe in all that dust and say, Stu, you just go ahead, get a little bit farther ahead of me here. Let me get out of this dust zone just a bit. I'm sure that could be playing a factor in it as well.
Well, and you mentioned the vision, and obviously these guys are wearing goggles, but what happens is there's foam around the outside of those goggles to allow for ventilation, and depending on how you prep those goggles, a lot of guys use chapstick or baby oil on that foam to stop the dust from getting to the inside, because you can pull as many tear-offs as you want. If that dust is on the inside of the goggles, there's really nothing you can do other than stopping and changing goggles to get that clear vision. But clear vision is not a problem for that rider right there. Obviously, he's got some dust from lap riders, but Grant Davis has been leading this one from the front for the last few laps with a 1 minute and 27-second gap over Stu Baylor in the number 2 spot, and Liam Draper lurking back there just behind Baylor, setting up what could be a battle to the finish we spoke about earlier between those two over that second and third place position on the podium. All right, here at the 3 mile marker, we're waiting, we're watching. Davis is through, your leader is through. Would be his first win of 2026. As crazy as that seems to say, you know, this is a rider that was so dominant, winning so many rounds in 2025, but just has been a struggle for him here in 2026 with 2 DNFs and a second place finish at round number 2. There we see Baylor still not quite to this 3 mile marker. Davis is already through with a 1 minute and 27-second gap. We'll be waiting on Stu Baylor and Liam Draper, second and third. Then the battle behind them over the 4th place spot. Jordan Ashburn has it. Ben Kelly wants it. Then Cody Barnes just behind Kelly, and Craig DeLong lurking back there as well. And there is Baylor on screen. I do not see Draper behind him at this point. So Baylor again has opened up a little bit of a gap over the Yamaha of Draper.
Yo-yo effect for Draper continues on. Just as quick as he gains it, he seems to lose it We'll see what he can do in these closing stages of this one. Going to look at our lap times here from the last lap. A 31:36 for Grant Davis. So not seeing that crazy fast lap time compared to the other riders. Stu Baylor able to drop it down, a 31:43 for him. So not near as far off as what he had been. And then a 31:39. Draper actually a little bit faster than Baylor that last time through.
Yep. The trusty Ironman telling us about 6.5 seconds when they went through. So we'll see if that holds up and what happens when they get back in that open section, or that's where Stu seems to pull back out when the visibility gets lower. But right now, this is just a race to the finish. This is a sprint.
Yeah, it's an all-out sprint for Stu Baylor. You can see that. Not really looking for those smooth lines anymore, just taking the most direct line between 2 points. Another one of those split line pine sections here in Baylor, just charging, staying on the top, blitzing those whoops, almost making it look like a Supercross whoop section there. Baylor charging his way through this section of racetrack and continuing to try to hold that lead of about 6.5 seconds over Liam Draper. That is for the number 2 spot.
We know all these guys up here in this front running are capable of pushing it all the way down to the wire. Kelly taking the win here in 2025. Then it was Liam Draper, Grant Davis, Stu Baylor, and Angus Reardon was your top 5 here in 2025. And if you think back, Baylor, he fought hard for this one, but Grant Davis just able to get him just by a few hairs there at the end of it.
It's a neat section there, that previous drone, where it's totally off camber, and you could really see when the rear end stepped out on both Stu's and Liam's bikes, and it doesn't show it so much from the air, but you can tell it was off camber if you've ridden it all.
Absolutely. We'll wait and watch now, see if we get this camera shot for the battle between Jordan Ashburn and Ben Kelly in the 4th and 5th place spot. They were very close when we last saw them a few miles ago. Again, valuable championship points as Jordan Ashburn sitting currently coming into the race today in the number 2 spot in the overall points, and Ben Kelly leading the way, currently sitting back there in the number 4th and 5th place spot behind Davis, Baylor, and Draper.
Hunter Carey making his way through on the 313 machine. A rider moving up from the youth ranks now, trying his hand here at the PM. Good to see him out here in this 3-hour. Looks like riding in one of our B classes with those yellow number plates.
There is Ben Kelly, so it looks like he has made the pass on Ashburn. I looked down to see the top 20, but I did not see Ashburn come through there. So that'll be another few championship points for Ben Kelly as he moves up into the number 4 spot. Still no Jordan Ashburn. I want to check with, did I miss Ashburn? I didn't see.
I don't believe so. There he is.
Yes, yep.
Yep, so now back to the number 5 spot. Jordan Ashburn still running inside the top 5, but now he has pressure from both Cody Barnes and Craig DeLong there. So that is 5th, 6th, and 7th on screen. Ashburn, after leading much this one, now back in the number 5 spot with pressure from behind.
Craig DeLong starting to pick it up once again.
Wait and we'll watch here, see if we get any shots of our XC1 battle. We know about XC2 battle. We know about 19 seconds was the gap that Gus Reardon had. We had seen it up as high as 45 seconds about halfway through lap number 5. And then Jack Walker able to put in a charge, get it back down to 18.9 seconds. So that one not over yet either. There's Wakowski, early race leader. And now he has pressure from Josh Strang on that factory beta. That is for the 9th and 10th place spots in the overall, and 8th and 9th in that XC1 class.
Saw Travis Lentz making his way by, our top overall youth rider from last year, and that means they are starting to get into some fast lap traffic here on this final lap of racing. Boy, it's been a good one here at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet for 2026, and we still have more to come as we see our XC2 leader making his way through. Angus Reardon trying to bring this one home. Can he get it done?
Where is
We're going to know here soon. Where is he? Where's Jack Walker here in this one? He came to fight, as well as the Playboy, Grant Davis. He had a good showing here in 2025 out of the XC2 class, but now he moves up to the XC1 class. He moves up to the 450cc machine here for this race, going from the 350 and now jumping up onto that 450cc machine. It seems to be working out for him. Can he bring this one home here in 2026? His possibly first win of the year. We're going to see here in just a few minutes back on Racer TV.
Hey race fans! Gear Bicycles is on hand today with the all-new Gen 4 Specialized Levo. They also have great deals on Gen 3 Levos and used bikes. Stop by their booth and see for yourself how fun it could be riding around these GNCC hills. Gear Bicycles is sponsored by Progressive. When you stop by their booth, you can find out why it's important to insure your e-bike, dirt bike, ATV, or RV. Once again, thanks for being here today, and enjoy your day.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Welcome back, everybody, to FMF Camp Coker Bullet here for round number 4 of 13 here in this 2026 season, and we are getting ready to bring this one home.
Yeah, the action for the win, Grant Davis with a 1-minute 27-second lead. Obviously, we can't call it a win until he crosses the finish line, but he has this one seemingly pretty well in hand. He's continued to stretch that gap out over the last 3 laps, but the battle over second rages on as having that position right there. Liam Draper trying to wrestle it away from Stu Baylor for the number 2 spot, and just behind them, it is now Ben Kelly up into the number 4 spot as he's gotten around Jordan Ashburn. Cody Barnes now starting to put the pressure on Ashburn, and Craig DeLong just behind Barnes as well. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th place spot in XC1 still up for grabs as well. And Baylor, although he has about 6 seconds on Draper, that's still very much in question as well. But Baylor riding very well and looking like he's pretty comfortable and trying to hang on to that position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see. White flag continuing to fly in the hands of Ricky Towery. Let's take a look here. Johnny, going to have just about, 13 minutes? Yep, 13 minutes until we plan on seeing a checkered flag flying. Stu Baylor's put himself, like you're saying, in a great position.
Yeah, Stu Baylor's still there in the, but here is now there. That was Craig DeLong. Didn't see, I believe Ashburn and Barnes still ahead of him there on track. So sitting in that number 7 spot in XC1 and 8th overall, still trying to apply the pressure and gain some positions here late in this one on the final lap of racing.
So viewing here from the mile 7 marker, we know DeLong is already through this one, so that means our entire front crew has made their way through.
We're told there might be some mix-up in the top 3 positions. We'll watch here at the 7-mile marker. well, we'll watch it when we get to the 10-mile marker, as here comes Mike Wakowski, and Josh Strang still trying to work his way around that Phoenix Racing Honda on that factory beta. Strang putting the pressure on Wakowski for the 9th spot in the overall and 8th spot in the XC1 class. Gus Reardon in the mix there, leading the way in XC2 with about a 19-second lead over Jack Walker. And just like that, on cue, here he comes. That is your XC2 leader on screen, looking to grab his first XC2 win of 2026. A multi-time former XC2 race winner, switching over to that Phoenix Racing Honda team, looking to bring them their first XC2 win of 2026 and his first as well.
Yeah, and not falling off much at all compared to our XC1 guys. We saw him up into the 5th place overall position, then down to the 6th, and now holding on to the 7th. But, you know, Johnny, we used to see it before the time of Grant Davis and Josh Toth getting those overall wins in the XC2 class. We used to see the riders start up top and then they'd fall off a little bit. Not seeing that from Reardon here today whatsoever. But, of course, Reardon had been there through the entire Grant Davis ordeal as well, so he was right there, and Grant really just kind of overshadowing him because he was doing great as well. There's the 314 machine of Grant Baylor making his way through. But yeah, the whole time it's so easy to talk about Grant Davis and what he was able to do in the XC2 class, but you can't forget Reardon was right there for all of it.
Yeah, we've got looks like one of the Rocky Mountain ATV MC mechanics running backwards on the trail. So we didn't see our leaders come through this camera shot. So we're being told that maybe Stu Baylor has not come by here at the 7-mile marker. If we can confirm with our producer Adam Gordon. So they're second in XC2. So we're being told Baylor's still not through at the 7-mile marker. So that is a big shakeup, and you can tell by the jog there. Stu Baylor needing a tow, we're being told from the track crew, just before the 7-mile marker. So big shakeup in the race, big shakeup in the points. That's going to move Liam Draper up to second, Ben Kelly up to third, and the rest of the way on back. And again, the points, that is now really going to help out Ben Kelly and Liam Draper and also Jordan Ashburn in those points, and that is going to drop Stu Baylor back if he is unable to get that machine going. And speaking of a tow, they're saying Stu Baylor needs a tow. That means he's done for the day. Once you're hooked to and towed, you can no longer rejoin the race. So that may be, we'll have to wait for official word, but what we're hearing, Stu Baylor needing a tow, that will mean a no points day for Stu Baylor.
That is such a heartbreak.
It is. He rode so hard, so well today. And then also when we saw Jack Walker getting much closer to Gus Reardon there, it was getting close, very interesting. Unofficially, I had about a minute 20 or 30 gap there that just developed the last time they went through. So
yeah, Walker's still having, when they checked in, 1 minute and 45 seconds over Jason Tino for that number 2 spot. Tino sitting back there in third.
This gap between Reardon and Walker has gotten much larger again.
Yeah, so Jack Walker losing a little time here, but still sitting solidly in that number 2 spot. We still have not seen Jason Tino, the 3rd place rider in that XC2, come through here at the 7-mile marker. We've seen some of our other XC1 riders all the way back to Grant Baylor coming through. Don't believe we've seen Thad Duvall just yet, but our top, looks like our top 9 in XC1 have come by. And just like that, here comes Thad Duvall now up to 10th with the departure of Stu Baylor. So he is now picking up positions. Stu Baylor, we don't know what the failure is, but something causing him to need a tow. And there is the 3rd place rider in XC2, Jason Tino, on that factory KTM, looking for another podium here in 2026.
So just under about 8 minutes, give or take, until we expect to see Davis over at the finish line. So going to be just a little bit over 3 hours here for this one for our leader. So it's only going to go from there for the rest of the crew. It has been a hard-fought day here at the Camp Coca-Cola.
Yeah, this track really takes it out of everyone, and to put that effort in and not be rewarded. There is Brody Johnson, so that is your 4th place rider in XC2, not too far behind Tino. So Tino needs to keep on the move. It was 14 seconds when they checked in at the white flag. Looks like it's maybe a little bit more than that now, but still lurking back there. One little miscue for Tino. Brody Johnson could find himself in position to grab another podium here at Camp Coker.
It's been a good one so far, and we're going to close this one out here in just a few minutes, and some fireworks to end it out. A heartbreak here for Stu Baylor and the entire Baylor family, man. This is what they've had their goal set on, is getting Stu one of these GNCC championships. Of course, Stu, like we said, actually
having some stake now in some other series and whatnot, but he says he wants to focus as much as he can on the GNCC series, so an absolute heartbreak for him. But this guy, he is on rails. Grant Davis makes his way through here at the mile 10.
Yeah, that's a hard hit for Stu Baylor in those championship hopes if he does not score any points here today. Again, we'll have to wait till the top 20 check-in, or we have confirmation that Stu Baylor has been towed, because either one of those things would mean no points for Baylor, and that is a heartbreaker. As hard as he rode here today, coming through the pack up to the number 2 spot, wasn't really in contention. I shouldn't say contention, but he wasn't making any inroads toward Grant Davis, but he was really in that battle with Liam Draper and had a pretty firm grasp on that number 2 spot, which would have meant 25 championship points, and that is just a heartbreaker to lose those points so close about halfway through the final lap of racing. We know Stu, a guy who never pulls punches, already been a rough week, obviously, with his son breaking his femur there and saying he had some stuff on his mind coming in, but riding through it, riding very well, looking like a mechanical failure for him here today, and that is just bad news for him and that Rocky Mountain ATV-MC Kawasaki team. You hate it for him.
And we saw them doing an air filter change, right, on his brother, and so maybe, who knows, what it could have been, but it's tough conditions today.
For Stu, if this is the case and he has to be towed in, then that'll make 2 out of 4 races he's not been able to score any points at. The only one in the XC1 class, other than Johnny Gerard and, of course, Caleb Russell, that is continuing to miss races. Him and Grant Davis, they're the only 2 that are going to have 2 races not complete. Grant Davis, it puts him all the way back into the 10th place spot as far as the points go, so no telling where Stu's going to wind up. There's the 198 machine.
Now up into the number 2 spot. Draper will be a good points day for him and that Ampro Yamaha team, pushing the pace, and he did have a pretty good gap over Ben Kelly, which will now be the 3rd place spot. So we'll wait and we'll watch for the big number 1, our defending champion points leader, and now in a podium position, Ben Kelly. Consistency in 2026. Just when it looks like he's sitting back there in that number 5-6 spot, we may not see a great day out of him. Now has put himself in a position to be back on the podium and another great points day. Going to give up a few points to Liam Draper, maybe. Going to give up a few points to Grant Davis, it's looking like. But still a solid championship points lead with Davis all the way back in that 10th spot. And like we talked about, as they run, this will jump Liam Draper up to the number 2 spot in points after we finish here today, if they finish where they're running. There is Ben Kelly. That is 3rd place overall and 3rd place in the XC1. The big number 1, Ben Kelly clicking off the mile markers, looking to put 21 points on the board here today. If he finishes where he's running with just about 3 miles of racetrack standing between him and a waving checkered flag. A little further, about a mile ahead further on the track. Grant Davis squaring up, getting outside of those big Camp Coker bumps on that big KTM 450. Out front, twisting the throttle with about a 1 minute and 27 second gap over Liam Draper in the number 2 spot.
This is exactly what he's going to need to do for Grant Davis if he wants to get himself back into this championship. Like we said, missing 2 or not scoring points at 2 races this year. It's going to take some wins for him to get himself back up there. But Johnny, I'm going to head down to the finish line there. We're going to get ready to do some interviews.
There we go. Cody Barnes now coming through, looking like so he. There we go.
Man.
So Stu Baylor, they are assisting him getting that machine out of the woods. He is with our GNCC track crew. Looks like Stu himself is fine, which is good news. But still, that's not something he's factoring in right now. Brock, he's got to be heartbroken. And, man, a major blow, not only to today's racing action, but the championship picture as he's looking at it for the rest of 2026.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one because, again, he's 2 DNFs, a win, and just going up, down, emotionally as a team owner and team manager and all the above. It's a tough one for him, and he doesn't. It's racing. I know it happens, but boy, he doesn't deserve that.
No, and we've seen this, unfortunately, so many times with Stu where he's, his riding is just not the issue. He's up there, he's in the position to win races and keep himself on the podium, but it's just the small little gremlins these last couple of years, and it's just knocking him out of championship contention. We counted him out a few years ago because he had a rough start to the season, and then he literally fought his way back into championship contention. Grant Davis on screen leading the way, but again, with 2 DNFs in the first 4 rounds of racing, not impossible. Grant Davis in that same position as well. but it just makes it so much harder. It puts you basically in a must-win position. You know, Grant Davis today with 30 points, Ben Kelly sitting in the number 3 spot, so that would be a 9-point gain for Grant Davis. But as we look at the points tallies coming into today, Grant Davis sitting in the 10th place spot with 25 points. So again, 38 points. He's going to take 9 out of that today if they finish how they're running. So it's not a bridge too far to cross, but it's, you have to do that week in and week out. You know, if Ben Kelly wins a race and chisels some of those points back, you're back in that same hole. 38 points 3 rounds in is a big mountain to climb. But Grant Davis doing all he can today. 30 points is the maximum, and that's what he's looking to earn. Here comes Ben Kelly now in the number 3 spot. Again, 21 points is what he's looking at here today if he finishes where he's running. Liam Draper just ahead of him.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you for letting me crash your party and also listen to your expertise. I love it every time I get to come in here and watch on the screen, see what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm going to run down and see hopefully a win by Grant Davis on a Dunlop-equipped KTM factory bike, and hopefully see him get across the finish line here.
Well, there you go. You're seeing him on screen, Brock. Thanks, as always, for joining us. We appreciate what you bring to the broadcast. Grant Davis now down to the final corners. He's out in this final section of trackside pitting, still ringing out that big KTM 450, threading the needle through this section of racetrack at a high rate of speed. Out of Mishap in Pennsylvania, he is your overall leader. He's looking at his first win of 2026. Very much in the championship battle in 2025. A heartbreaking end of the season with the crash, and then just not able to go the distance at the final round of racing. Ben Kelly capitalizing and winning that 25 championship. But now Ben Kelly leading the way in the championship, but Grant Davis leading the way on track. Just a few more corners, and Grant Davis looking to earn his first win of 2026. I have a feeling we're going to see a very happy Grant Davis. It's been a tough start to the season, but just a few corners standing between him and the celebration of his first win. You can see he now knows he has it in hand. He could push his bike from here if he needed to. Grant Davis, 2 more corners. Ricky Towery with the white flag waving and checkered flag in hand. You can see the sense of relief. Grant Davis, there it is. He knows he's got it now. 1 right-hand corner. And Camp Coker 2026 goes to Grant Davis. First win of 2026 and a big jump in the overall points. He is going to rocket up the standings with that 30 points earned here today. And what a ride for this young man. You can see our Racer TV cameras very quick to get to Grant there, and you can see just the sense of relief, the sense of joy. First win of 2026, and a big monkey off of this young man's back, trying to ride his way back into this overall championship battle. And with a 9-point gain, if Ben Kelly comes across the line in 3rd here in just a few minutes, that will be a big jump in the points. And you can see the entire team around him. That's his mechanic, Andy, there, his dad, Bill, to the left. There's Mom, there's his sister, Megan, and everybody excited to see this young man back where we were kind of all expecting to see him coming into 2026, right on top, in the middle of the overall podium. And here comes Liam Draper through the final sections of racetrack. Another 2nd place finish, it's looking like today for Draper. Charged through the pack to do it. Had a battle with Stu Baylor through the final parts of this race. Baylor having a bike issue, having to be towed in. Liam Draper fighting hard and putting himself in position to earn this 2nd place finish, and another great points today for Liam Draper. Grant Davis, we don't know exactly where he's going to land in the points. We'll have to wait till the other riders all work their way in, but quick math tells us that this rider right here, the 198 Ampro Yamaha of Liam Draper, will jump up from 4th to 2nd in the overall points, meaning he will be the closest challenger to Ben Kelly as we head into round 5 in Kentucky in 3 weeks' time. A great ride here today for Liam Draper. 2nd place a year ago at this facility. 2nd place 3 weeks ago at Talladega, and another consistent 2nd place performance for Liam Draper on the Ampro Yamaha. Quick to reach for the goggle strap. You can tell these guys excited this one's over, depleted, but at the same time, they know they've done enough for today. They're ready to get some water, get some rest, and get ready to go racing again in 3 weeks. There's his wife, Nikki, celebrating with him. See, he's going to head over to the Moose cool-down area and sit down right away. He left everything out on this very rough racetrack. As we watch him get some water from the support crew there, water down the back, likely overheated. And here comes Ben Kelly, the big number 1 plate on his bike, looking to round out the podium here today. He is your points leader coming into the day, will leave as your points leader. That points lead will shrink a little bit. We'll go down from 38 to 29, but still a great salvage points day for Ben Kelly, rounding out the podium in third place. Ben Kelly seemingly able to just snatch a good, consistent day from what looks like it could be disaster. Was falling back outside the top 5 just a few laps ago. Some fortune coming his way with Stu Baylor having some bike issues, but he also made some passes and dug deep late in this one. You could see the sense of relief on the podium again here today. And this is a man that knows how to win GNCC championships. He already has 2 to his credit. He was your points leader coming into today, and again will maintain that points lead as we head to Kentucky in 3 weeks' time. Sense of relief, it looks like today, from Ben Kelly, your championship points leader, as he takes off that sweatband, pulls out the earplugs and the mouth guard as well, it looks like, or maybe just scraping some dirt out of his mouth there. He ate dust throughout the entirety of this one. We'll wait and we'll watch. Looks like Cody Barnes has now crossed the line. Let's see here. Barnes in the number 4 spot, 48 seconds behind Ben Kelly. So 1 minute 51 seconds was the margin of victory for Grant Davis over Liam Draper. Then 50 seconds back to Ben Kelly in third, and another 48 back to Cody Barnes. Stu Baylor continuing to drop down the leaderboard charts. Now Ashburn is checked in 11 seconds behind Barnes in 5th, and Craig DeLong is also checked in, rounding out the top 5, only 2 seconds behind Jordan Ashburn. So a big charge back for Craig DeLong in the number 6 spot. We are told that our man Jackson Burrell is down at the finish line with today's race winner, Grant Davis.
Yeah, sure am, Johnny. Standing by with the big number 2 machine right now. Grant, man, what a day for you here today. We saw you 30 seconds a lap faster, 40 seconds a lap faster than anybody on the track a few times around. And that definitely made the difference here, Grant. We'll let you throw on your jersey real quick, make sure that those sponsors get some love here. Jerseys are a little hard to unsort after 3 hours of battle and all the sweat that comes with it. There it is. All right, Grant, as I was saying, 30 seconds a lap faster there on some of those opening laps, man. That definitely made a huge difference today. Take us through your race. Take us through getting this win.
Yeah, been on this 450 for a week now, and I'm happy with it. Just been a little under the weather with allergies lately. I can't stop coughing and stuff. Been struggling, but I've been really happy with this past week on my riding and everything, and got out front, got ahead of Jordan, was just cruising behind him, just figuring the track out, got out front, and then I dropped the hammer real quick for a lap and got to like a 30-second gap, and I'm like, well, I'll just cruise. And then I kept getting pit boards saying I kept pulling, and I was like, I don't know how I'm pulling right now because I feel like I'm just like kind of just riding around. And honestly, yeah, I was to ride for 60-70% all day and win by that much. I'm really happy on my riding.
No doubt. Congratulations to it. How does it feel after 2 non-points paying races? How does it feel to finally get this first XC1 win?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I needed to get that bad juju off my back. That's all I got to say. And this one's for Johnny G. I miss you, Johnny. And you got to get back to the races here soon, buddy.
All right. Well, Grant, we're going to be moving into Kentucky here soon. How do you feel going into that new round?
I'm excited. I love the rocks, and going to go home and test on some rocks with this 450, and hopefully I come out swinging and make some more points back there, too.
He's ready to go for round number 5. Your round number 4 winner, Grant Davis.
Well, there you heard it, folks, straight from the horse's mouth. Grant Davis saying put in that push there after he was able to get around Jordan Ashburn early on in the race on lap number 3, early in lap number 3, opening up a 30-second gap, saying he was just riding around at 60-70%, able to open up a 1 minute and 51-second margin of victory over Liam Draper. So if that's 60 or 70%, Grant Davis, that could mean a long rest of the season for the rest of his XC1 and overall competitors here in GNCC racing. But Grant, first race on the 450, disappointing by his own accounts, him saying needed to get the bad juju and the monkey off his back, doing that here today in a big, big way with a commanding victory here at the FMF Camp Coker Bullet. We're heading head down there. We'll get a word with Liam Draper here. Looks like Jackson's setting up now, and he'll let us know when he's ready. But Liam Draper, second place on the day. A good points day for him and the Ampro Yamaha team. Looks like Jackson may be ready down there at the finish line.
I sure am. Standing by here with Liam Draper after a very hard-fought race out there. Liam, it's clear you left it all on the track. Take us through your day.
Yeah, it was a good day. Kind of an average start. Better than what I was, actually. But Granted got away in the dust, and I couldn't see him. But, yeah, it was a track that you really had to be on it, man. There's some big holes and square edges out there in the dust. You couldn't see them. It was a track you could really ruin a year on, I believe. But not super good day, good points, and we're out of here safe.
No doubt. Liam, we saw you trail back just a little bit there. We saw a lot of yo-yoing going on. Was some of that intentional due to the dust here today?
Yeah, definitely. There was sections out here you could really push and get to the guy in front of you, and there were sections you just had to kind of ride and be patient and hang in there. So day, plenty of ponds out there, so at least I didn't find one of them today.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we're headed into Kentucky for the Dukes over to Hazard County. How do you feel going into that one? New venue.
Yeah, super excited. I know it's probably going to be a little gnarly and rocky, which is PA where I live. So excited for that. My dad's coming over, so hope I get this monkey off my back and get in the center of the box.
There you heard it, guys. Your second place, Liam Draper.
Well, there you go. A big day for Liam Draper and that Ampro Yamaha team. Coming across the line in second place. 25 points on the day, jumping up to second place in the overall. Pointing out that he was able to stay clear of all of the ponds. We got to see jet ski Liam Draper at GNCC round 2 when he rode himself into one of those ponds in a battle with Cody Barnes. Keeping it clean today, getting himself to the finish line. Looks like that may have been Brody Johnson just crossing the line. So we'll see if we do have an update. Looks like Gus Reardon hangs on to the win there in XC2 with Jack Walker in second, 1 minute and 17 seconds behind. And Jason Tino holds on to the number 3 spot, 152 behind. That will be your XC2 podium. We're looking down to the finish line, see if we can get our man Jackson Burrell to track down Ben Kelly. Another podium performance here today for Ben Kelly, continuing to hold on to that championship points lead. 38 points coming into today, leaving here with 29, and it sounds like Jackson is ready with Ben Kelly.
I sure am. Sitting by with a third place. Ben Kelly, a hard-fought day out there, man. A dusty one here for round number 4. Take us through it from your point of view.
Tough day. I had a pretty good jump off the start. You know, I was right there, 4th or 5th, and yeah, I could kind of see the leaders. We were running there in the beginning, but I feel like I put myself in a good spot. I got 3rd or 4th or something, and yeah, I just kind of was struggling to pass a few guys, and I kind of lost my flow and rhythm, and kind of had a lull there in the middle, and made some mistakes. And Stu and Liam got by me, and then that just created more dust. So I was just mad at myself because then there was just cruising at times, and yeah, I don't know. I just don't take the risk in the dust anymore, which is what it is. But I pushed as hard as I could and fought, made a few more passes, and then was in 4th on the last lap, and Stu had an issue, so salvaged 3rd again on what I would call as a bad day because I was just didn't feel like I had it. But yeah, it was an okay day for me.
Hey, for an okay day, coming out of it with a good point day for you, no doubt about that. Headed into round number 5, how are you feeling after this dusty, gnarly one that we had here today?
Yeah, feeling good. Good. I mean, like I said, I hate the dust. I don't know. I few sketchy moments when I'm out there trying to pass some guys, and I had a lot to lose, obviously, with the point lead. So sometimes I don't know, salvage, which sucks. Got to swallow the pride sometimes, and just is what it is. But like I said, pushed and made as many passes as I could, and yeah, overall, another good race.
Salvaged the 3rd place out of it here today. That's Ben Kelly.
Well, Ben Kelly says it was a salvage of a day. Some might call it race management and championship management. Holding on to the points lead here today with a 3rd place performance, gaining points over his nearest competitors in the championship. Jordan Ashburn was in the number 2 spot, looking like he'll drop back to 3rd in the points. Liam Draper will jump up to 2nd. Grant Davis going to make a big jump. We're going to have to get the calculators out to figure out exactly where he winds up when we tally the points. I believe Jackson's going to try to track down our XC2 winner, Gus Reardon. But there was your podium. that's what they had to say about it. It was a very rough Camp Coker racetrack. Ben Kelly talking about how he struggles in the dust, but fighting through it for a podium performance here today and a good points day for both he and his FMF factory KTM teammate Grant Davis, going 1-3 with the Emperor Yamaha Liam Draper splitting them on the podium there in the number 2 spot. XC2 podium, like we said, has checked in. Gus Reardon taking the win. And second place was Jack Walker, and third place Jason Tino hanging on to that podium position. Looks like we are unable to locate Gus for that post-race interview. So if you're here at the track, you can head over to the podium, hear what he has to say about the day. But what a great day of action here today. Grant Davis' first win of 2026. And here's the Specialized race recap of how it all went down today. Up here in the sands of Camp Coker, a lot of anticipation coming into round number 4. Ricky Towery rating in turn number 1, and so quick off the line that he ended up being penalized 30 seconds for starting early. Mike Wakowski grabbing that hole shot in the XC1 class. Jordan Ashburn trying to run it around the outside, and Ben Kelly up there saying he had a good start as well. We see Grant Davis, Craig DeLong around the outside. Everybody fighting for position early, knowing this was going to be a dusty, rough racetrack. The intensity was high right from the drop of the flag. XC2, it was Toby Cleveland off the line on the number 213 and straight to the front. The usual suspects up front in this one. Jack Walker there trying to make moves. Gus Reardon trying to run it up the inside to the outside, ultimately making the pass around the outside as Walker kind of stumbles there in turn number 3. Reardon to the number 2 spot would eventually make the pass on Toby Cleveland and take over the point position in that XC2 class, leading it pretty much throughout the entirety. Then after Mike Wakowski's 30-second penalty for the early start, Jordan Ashburn assumes the lead and into the number 2 spot. It was up there. We see there is Wakowski receiving that penalty from race control. 30 seconds for starting early, dropping him back to the 3rd place position. And then Jordan Ashburn out front. Grant Davis starting to put the pressure on Mike Wakowski sitting in the number 3 spot. Ben Kelly charging up through the pack, and this is where things got interesting. Davis starting to put the pressure on Jordan Ashburn, saying he followed him around, kind of trying to figure the track out. First race on the new 450. Stu Baylor just slashing his way through the pack after his signature mid-pack start. And then this is where Davis really started to push the pace, got to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn. Ashburn not making it easy, though. We thought Davis had the pass made multiple times, finally taking over that point position, and on lap number 3, opening up about a 30-second lead. Baylor continuing to charge through the pack with Ben Kelly in tow, and then Davis would just open up the lead throughout the rest of the day. From his own words, riding at 60 to 70%, said the gap just kept opening up. We saw Stu Baylor quick in and out of the pits, holding on to that number 2 spot late in this one. But it was the story of Grant Davis today with a 1 minute and 51 second margin of victory. Once he got out front, was never really challenged. Stu Baylor into the number 2 spot, and Liam Draper charging through the pack. Didn't see much of him early, but once he got up into that number 3 spot, he put a lot of pressure on Baylor until ultimately, unfortunately, Baylor having a bike issue and another DNF here in 2026. No points today for Stu Baylor, but he was strong throughout. It was about halfway through the last lap. Davis still leading it, just looking smooth. You could see how confident he felt out there today on this racetrack, and just never really was challenged once he took that front position. Ben Kelly able to gain a position when Stu Baylor ultimately having to be towed out of the woods on the back part of the property. And this was the final corners as Grant Davis worked his way towards the checkered flag and his first win of 2026. Grant Davis getting the momentum going, getting the monkey off his back, saying getting that bad juju out. He needed to get himself some clean running room, and he did just that here today with a big, big win. Liam Draper coming across the line in second. Again, a big points day for Draper, and Ben Kelly rounding out your overall and XC1 podium in the number 3 spot, continuing to lead the points here as we head towards round number 5. Here's the rundown of your top 10 in the overall. Davis, Draper, Kelly, Barnes, Ashburn, DeLong, Reardon, your XC2 winner, Strang, Jack Walker, second in XC2, and Mike Wakowski rounding out the top 10. Man, what a action-packed day here at Camp Coker. We normally do the final thoughts. We'll make it quick here because it's just me in the booth. Our man Zach Herron had to head out a little early to another event. Jackson Burrell down doing the podium interviews. My final thoughts on the day. Grant Davis getting the momentum going, but it's going to take a lot to run down Ben Kelly. 9 points is what he was able to make up today with about another 29 to go. A great day of racing, a fun day of action, battles in both XC1 and XC2, top amateur. Everything was exciting here today. And I think my final thought is I don't want to wait the 21 days to do this again in Kentucky. Let's just head right over to Kentucky and get the action underway. We've had a great day of action here at Camp Coker. It's been our pleasure to bring you this racing action, and this isn't the end of it. If you're watching from home, you can tune in and watch all of the action from our upcoming broadcasts, including the Dukes, which is our new round in Kentucky on April 18th, Saturday at 1:30 p.m. Then make sure you're back the next day, 12:30 on Sunday for our pro bike race. We've got the J-Day coming at you from the CGI facility on April 25th, and then we're back Old Gray GNCC Racing in Tennessee on May 2nd for our pro ATV race. The following day, May 3rd, will be our pro bike race as well. What a pleasure it's been to bring you all the action. On behalf of Carrie Joe Russell, our producer, Adam Gordon, our producer, executive producer, Carrie Russell, producer Adam Gordon, director Don Hampton, replay operator Cameron Cotter, engineer in charge Jordan McFadden, second engineer Jack Brenner, our manager Dan Reinhart, our official spotter David Hollywood Kripe, our camera operators Jack, Mike, Matt, Adam, Josh, Adam, Dave, Dylan, and our ace drone pilot Gabe Scholl. On behalf of myself, Jackson Burrell, and Zach Herron, this has been Racer TV. We'll see you again soon.